has the Alliance done?
Is this the best kept secret in global health? In 20 years, the Vaccine Alliance has changed the way we do global health by trying to answer one question. How can we stop millions of children from dying each year from preventable diseases?
Gavi became the very first space where different players started to work together in a coordinated way.
The vaccines were available, but not everywhere.
The children at most risk in poor countries were the ones who were getting the least vaccines.
We needed a unique set of people.
You can really use innovative ideas and financing mechanisms to bring the public and private sector together to deliver on an issue.
It's about collaboration and pooling resources so manufacturers can produce more vaccines at better prices, build new factories, and bring vaccines to the world like never before.
Gavi's expertise and capacity are at the heart of our efforts to ensure equitable access for any vaccine.
I would like to applaud Gavi and all the partners here tonight for the incredible success we've seen in expanding access to immunization to children all around the world.
We've supported 500 vaccine launches.
Newer vaccines that are in the pipeline, we will continue to give them in abundance so further lives will be saved.
Created the ecosystem so more vaccines can be developed and reach poor countries.
We know that through the work of organizations like Gavi, with effective governance, with investments of government dollars, we're getting a real return.
Strengthened health systems help countries become more sustainable and pioneered innovation across the sector. Today, Gavi has immunized 760 million children, saving 13 million lives. Somewhere in the world, 3,700 children are vaccinated each time the London Eye completes a rotation.
My hope is that in the next 20 years, we'll work ourselves out of a job.
Gavi will retire one day, but its work is far from over. In the next 5 years, 300 million children must be vaccinated, including 10 million who have never received a single dose of vaccine.
Les vaccins sauvent des vies. Les vaccins, c'est la vie.
We need science and ingenuity, and more than ever before, we need your support. Because all young people deserve protection and an opportunity for a better future.
What Gavi has done well is already a huge progress in accessibility to vaccine and then to health.
With COVID-19, the world faces its greatest public health risk in a century.
It has been 5 months since COVID started upending the lives of billions of people around the world.
We recognize the importance of building global solidarity.
Gavi stands with its partners to help our world recover, to help develop, produce, and deliver vaccines for everyone.
The infrastructure we have put in place in the countries we support will allow us to ensure that nobody is left behind.
Welcome to the Global Vaccine Summit 2020.
Honourable world leaders, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Global Vaccine Summit 2020. My name is Jen Copestake and I have the immense pleasure of guiding you through today's event. The video you just watched gave us a taste of the work of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. And during the next 3.5 hours, we will look at the progress that Gavi has made since the year 2000, as well as seeing how countries and frontline health workers are successfully addressing the COVID-19 crisis, maintaining access to essential vaccination services. And during the summit, we will explore the success of this alliance and also examine the challenges it faces to deliver vaccines to those most in need around the world. We will hear from stakeholders committed to funding its essential work and find out how Gavi is joining the race to accelerate the development of vaccines for COVID-19. We have worked hard to ensure that the voice of all of Gavi's stakeholders are heard, and in the spirit, we have asked all the speakers to be as brief as possible while ensuring that all protocol is met. First, I have the great pleasure of introducing our host, the Right Honourable Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, to deliver the opening address.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to welcome you to this virtual Global Vaccine Summit and what I hope will be a real moment when the world comes together, uniting humanity in the fight against disease. That is our mission today. To defeat coronavirus, we must focus our collective ingenuity on the search for a vaccine and ensure that countries, pharmaceutical companies and international partners like the World Health Organization cooperate on a scale beyond anything we've seen before. We must use the collective purchasing power of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, to make that future vaccine affordable and available to all who need it. And if we are to make this the beginning of a new era of global health collaboration, we must also replenish the funding for the vaccines we already have, strengthening routine immunization against preventable diseases in the poorest countries. It's an amazing fact that every year, Gavi and its partners help immunize around half of all newborn children, protecting more than 760 million infants in the last 2 decades, and saving over 13 million lives. For the next 5 years, we now need at least $7.4 billion to protect another 300 million children and save up to 8 million lives. So, just as the UK is the single biggest donor to the international effort to find a coronavirus vaccine, we will remain the world's leading donor to Gavi, contributing £1.65 billion over the next 5 years. I urge you to join us to fortify this life-saving alliance and inaugurate a new era of global health cooperation, which I believe is now the most essential shared endeavour of our lifetimes. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Johnson. I now would like to introduce you to Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Chair of the Gavi Board, who joins us from Washington. Dr. Ngozi.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome and thank you for joining us today for this historic event. I think it's fair to say that COVID-19 has focused the world's attention like never before on the critical role vaccines play, not just in protecting lives, but also livelihoods and economies. Vaccination should be recognized as a global public good because, as this terrible pandemic has shown, a world without vaccines is but a house of cards in the face of infectious disease, which is why we're here today. Through vaccination, Gavi already protects nearly half the world's children. Our goal now is simple: to go further, to ensure that no child goes without. Because protecting children is the right thing to do, and because it is the foundation upon which global health security is built. As a global alliance made up of WHO, Unicef, the World Bank, along with governments, civil society, private sector, industry, and philanthropy, Gavi does this with great aplomb. In the last 2 decades, it has helped protect an entire generation, vaccinating more than 760 million children and saving 13 million lives. As COVID-19 has demonstrated, the economic impact of infectious disease can be devastating. But equally so, the reverse is true. Through health comes wealth. Since 2000, Gavi's work has helped generate $150 billion in economic benefits in the countries we support. Now, with your support and commitment, we can go even further and protect 1.1 billion people by 2025, thereby preventing 22 million deaths. Over the next 5 years, this will help generate a further $80 to $100 billion in economic benefits. Such goals are highly ambitious. Global trends like climate change, population growth, urbanization, and human migration are changing the global health landscape in ways that will make our work increasingly more difficult. So it is heartening to see so many global leaders here today, putting aside any differences to unite in their commitment to ensure that we succeed. Because it is only by ensuring that everyone has access to vaccines, including COVID-19 vaccines, that together we can prevent pandemics, protect the next generation, and ensure that the global economy continues to prosper. Thank you, and now I have the great pleasure of handing over the virtual floor to His Excellency, the UN Secretary General, Antonio Guterres.
Today we celebrate the life-saving miracle of a vaccination. the most important public health intervention in history, saving tens of millions of lives every year, eradicating diseases like smallpox, preventing diseases like measles, rubella, and tetanus. But we also meet at an uncertain time. COVID-19 is the greatest public health crisis of our generation, and right now, there is no vaccine. As we work together to develop one, there is an important lesson we need to understand. A vaccine by itself is not enough. We need global solidarity to ensure that every person, everywhere, has access. A COVID-19 vaccine must be seen as a global public good, a people's vaccine, which a growing number of world leaders are calling for. Let us learn from the incredible work of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Thanks to the alliance partners, people of all ages and income levels in all countries can access vaccines. The United Nations is proud to be part of this effort towards universal health coverage. And we are committed to being part of the next phase, because there is still much work to do. 20 million children are missing their full complement of vaccines, and 1 in 5 has received no vaccines at all. Now, under the shadow of COVID-19, their plight is even more desperate. Immunization campaigns are being halted. The gaps in global vaccine delivery could grow wider. So, as we meet today, let us make 3 key commitments. First, let's find safe ways to continue delivering vaccinations even as COVID-19 spreads. Second, let's use the networks of vaccine delivery to deliver a range of other primary health services. And third, when a COVID-19 vaccine becomes available, let's make sure it reaches everyone. Diseases know no borders. That is why a fully funded Gavi will be critical to ensure we continue the progress towards the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary General. Next, we welcome the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Transparency, and Boris Johnson is somebody with tremendous respect for you and everything you do. He called, he said, "Do you think you could do something maybe around the Oval Office or right by the Oval Office?" I said, "Why not? It happens to be right behind me." As the coronavirus has shown, there are no borders. It doesn't discriminate. It's mean, it's nasty, but we're going to all take care of it together. It's great to be partnering with you. We will work hard. We will work strong. Send my regards to Boris, and good luck. Let's get the answer.
Thank you, President Trump. Our next guest is the Prime Minister of Norway, Erna Solberg.
Your Excellencies, dear partners and friends, we know from our own experience that investing in vaccines is one of the best public health investments we can make. Norway was one of the founders of Gavi 20 years ago. We believed and still believe in the vision and the mission to improve the world one vaccine at a time. Now, 20 years on, more than 760 million children have been given a better chance to reach adulthood and become productive members of society. Preventing future epidemics of diseases such as measles and polio through Gavi's strategic and innovative approach to make vaccines affordable and accessible have saved millions of lives. In line with the strong Gavi tradition, we must continue to make sure no one is left behind. Today's pandemic and the ongoing unprecedented effort to find vaccines against COVID-19 is a testament to the significance of vaccines. World leaders must deliver on our promise to ensure that the vaccine, once developed, is available globally to those most in need first, including to those countries that do not have the ability to pay. It is a human rights issue. It's a global health issue. The new advanced mechanism commitment for COVID-19 vaccines will ensure that also people in low and lower middle income countries have access to vaccines once they are developed. This is a highly appreciated and timely initiative. Norway is looking with interest into proposals for global solutions with broad participation to secure the efficient procurement and distribution of COVID-19 vaccines to all. For example, the COVAX facility presented by Gavi and CEPI. Norway will continue to be a committed long-term partner for Gavi. I am pleased to announce Norway's contribution of $1 billion, including $400 million to the IFM for the strategic period 2021 to 2025. Furthermore, $5.6 million already committed to Gavi will be used as seed money to the new advanced mechanism commitment. So thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Solberg. We will now hear from Musa Faki Mohamed, Chair of the African Union.
I'm very thankful to Prime Minister Boris Johnson for organizing this important meeting and for inviting the African Union Commission to participate. I also wish to thank Gavi for its continued work in Africa, where it spends 60% of its resources to ensure equitable and affordable access to vaccines. Gavi's vital contribution to ensure a chance to health and well-being in Africa and other nations of the world is important now more than ever. As the world fights the global COVID-19 pandemic, we must not lose sight of the existing need of routine vaccination for children and adults. Before, during, and after any pandemic, the world cannot afford to take its eyes off the ball of the reality presented by preventable and infectious disease. The cost will simply be too high to pay, particularly in Africa. Acting now is an investment for our common future as we continue our fight against COVID-19 today.
Thanks, everyone. We will now learn about the key role civil society plays in fulfilling the mission of the Vaccine Alliance.
Reaching everyone, everywhere with life-saving vaccines may seem like an insurmountable goal, but it's not impossible. Civil society organizations are the link in the chain that unites communities, even the most remote ones, to the rest of the world. In conflict settings, they're often the first to respond to health emergencies and support the most vulnerable groups, including refugees. I care about my job because I contribute every day to the health of children beyond my own. Life can be complicated and uncertain, but one thing remains undeniable: vaccines work. Vaccines save lives, and they prevent a wide range of diseases. It is true that governments hold the primary responsibility to vaccinate children in their country. But we, civil society, also have a responsibility to make sure that everyone is being reached with life-saving vaccines. In my experience living and working in low and middle-income countries, I have seen families lose their children to diseases that should be eradicated by now. And these lost lives are not statistics on board or on a tally sheet. These are lives, human lives, that we're putting at risk by not ensuring universal access to immunization. The fact that there are vaccines to prevent these diseases and the fact that there are children still dying from them is unacceptable. Immunization protects everyone in the community, and the more protected we are, the healthier and more prosperous we are. Fortunately, we're not alone in this fight. Thousands around the world are working towards the same goal with the same drive. Today, the decision is yours, and I count on all of you to make sure that Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, is fully funded. Every child deserves to live a healthy life, protected from vaccine-preventable diseases.
So now we are going to look at how to provide equal access to essential vaccines. This is a key part of Gavi's mission, making sure children all over the world get the protection they need. A key partner in this work is the World Health Organization. Its Director General is Dr. Tedros, who joins us now. Dr. Tedros, you have the floor.
Very nice to see you virtually.
Nice to see you.
Excellencies, dear colleagues and friends, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. And I would especially like to thank the United Kingdom for hosting this event, and my friend Prime Minister Boris Johnson for his leadership in this very vital area of public health. This year marks 40 years since smallpox became the first and to date the only human disease to be eradicated. This towering public health achievement was only possible because of the world's first vaccine developed by Edward Jenner in 1796. Dr. Jenner gave birth to one of the most powerful tools in the history of medicine. Thanks to vaccines, hundreds of millions of deaths have been prevented. Polio has been pushed to the brink of eradication. And just in the past few years, new vaccines have become available for Ebola and malaria. But all this progress is under threat. The COVID-19 pandemic is unraveling many of the gains we have made. Vaccination campaigns for polio, cholera, measles, meningitis, and HPV have been disrupted, putting hundreds of millions of people at risk. Additionally, 80 million children are at risk of missing out on routine vaccines for tuberculosis, pneumonia, and diarrhea. A vaccine will be essential for controlling COVID-19. But vaccines only realize their true power when they're deployed to protect the poorest and most vulnerable. That's why WHO and our partners have established the Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator and the COVID-19 Technology Access Pool. Our shared duty is to ensure that once a vaccine is available, it's available to everyone. The immunization infrastructure that the Gavi Alliance has helped build over the past 20 years will be essential for fulfilling that duty. COVID-19 is a devastating reminder that life is fragile and that in our global village, our individual health depends on our collective health. Smallpox was not ended by a vaccine alone. There was one other key ingredient: solidarity. Now is the moment for the world to come together in solidarity to realize the power of vaccines for everyone. Now is the moment for all of us to fully fund Gavi to ensure it continues to prevent, protect, and prosper. I thank you. Thank you again, Jane.
Thank you, Dr. Tedros. And for those of you watching, you may have seen some of our upcoming panelists briefly on the screen there with Dr. Tedros. We're going to discuss the roles that governments and the vaccine industry play in this alliance, and particularly what this means in the current coronavirus pandemic. So joining me in London is Anne-Marie Trevelyan, UK Secretary of State for International Development, Emma Walmsley, Chief Executive Officer of GlaxoSmithKline, and here in the studio is Dr. Seth Berkley, Chief Executive Officer of Gavi. First, Dr. Berkley, what are you and your partners doing to ensure equal access to vaccines and affordable access?
So thanks, Jen. Gavi's role is to address market failures in the vaccine market. This happens when market forces don't deliver the best outcome for the public. For instance, in vaccines, you want them to be accessible to those who need them most, but they are not necessarily the ones with the deepest pockets. 20 years ago at Davos, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, was created to solve this precise problem, to deliver new and underutilized vaccines in low-income countries, to prevent outbreaks, save lives, support economic growth and well-being. How do we do this? We work with countries to make a long-term projection of their needs. The alliance then engages with the vaccine industry to negotiate volumes at the best price. As we purchase vaccines for more than half of the world's children, we can credibly reassure the vaccine industry that it's worth innovating and investing in production capacity. Now, demand certainty is critical as the vaccine business is capital intensive and quite expensive with a high investment initially required. By ordering large quantities of vaccines for a long period of time, we can also incentivize new manufacturers to the effort, such as the developing country vaccine manufacturers, to create healthy competition and to bring down the vaccine price. In 2000, we bought from 5 manufacturers. Today, we buy from 17. We also bring donors into this equation. For example, we created an innovative financing mechanism called the Pneumococcal Advanced Market Commitment for a vaccine against pneumonia. Donors committed funds up front to guarantee the price of vaccines once they've been developed. This provides vaccine manufacturers with the incentive to invest in vaccine R&D and to scale up manufacturing capacity. As a result, pneumococcal vaccines are available to Gavi-supported countries at contractually no more than $3.50 a dose, but today even a much lower price, well less than 2% of the public price in the United States. And this has allowed Gavi countries to immunize more than 225 million children against pneumococcal disease. This has only been possible through collaboration across the public and private sector partners.
Thank you. So Secretary of State Trevelyan, as the UK is the largest donor to Gavi and is hosting today's summit, could you tell us a bit more about why it's such an important investment for the UK government?
Thank you, Jen. Yes, I'm really proud of the UK's commitment to Gavi over the last 20 years, and that the UK will provide new support, an equivalent of £330 million a year for the next 5 years. Gavi's core mandate of increasing immunisation coverage is vital right now. If routine immunisation is interrupted as part of the fight against COVID-19, for every life saved from the novel coronavirus, over 100 unimmunised children's lives could be lost. So it's critical that we maintain essential health services to prevent secondary outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases. In Gavi's future strategy, immunisation must be restored and reimagined, and industry partners like GSK play a crucial role in meeting that goal. The Alliance will need to strengthen surveillance systems, maintain our focus on the hardest to reach zero-dose children, and carry out mass campaigns to recover immunisation coverage levels. Countries must continue to prioritise routine immunisation within their primary health care as we continue working towards ensuring quality health services are available to all by 2030. I'm also really proud of the UK's role in shaping Gavi's work through the International Finance Facility to Immunisation, IFIM, and wholly support Gavi continuing to leverage its expertise and innovative financing portfolio to support the COVID-19 response. Finally, I am proud to announce that the UK will match up to £5 million raised by MasterCard over the next 5 years. This is part of the UK's £25 million contribution to Gavi's matching fund, which will leverage the UK funding to Gavi for one-to-one contributions from the private sector.
Secretary of State. Now, Emma Walmsley, what role do you think your industry plays in ensuring equitable access for everybody to vaccines?
Well, first, let me say as a UK company how much we welcome the UK government's role as the largest donor to Gavi, championing global access to vaccination, because it's really one of the most effective ways our industry helps improve global health. The unique role of R&D-focused companies like GSK and other Gavi partners is our scientific, technical, and manufacturing know-how. Gavi's public-private model means the life-saving vaccines the industry creates have impact at huge scale, protecting hundreds of millions in low-income countries from diarrhea, pneumococcal disease, or cervical cancer. And our industry now is showing how agile we can be in the current crisis. But alongside applying our science for new vaccines, we need to make long-term manufacturing investments to support access for the broadest portfolios required. Gavi creates long-term demand and secures reliable funding, helping us plan ahead to build up manufacturing capacity to provide sustainable supply at scale for low-income countries. So our joint work with Gavi has never been more important, as countries today are facing disruption to routine immunization and potential outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases.
Yes, and how does all of this play out currently with the coronavirus pandemic? It must be more challenging?
Well, obviously having a safe, effective effective vaccine at scale is key to the world's exit plan from this pandemic, and more than one vaccine is going to be needed. Our companies all believe that global, fair access to COVID-19 vaccines is an absolute priority, and many of us are taking significant actions at risk to help. In our case, GSK intends to produce 1 billion doses of our pandemic vaccine adjuvant next year to support multiple collaborations. And adjuvants are important because they allow more vaccine doses to be produced, helping to protect many more people. Gavi's proven track record of pooling the demand from low-income countries and securing reliable funding must be harnessed for COVID-19. This will help us continue to invest in manufacturing capacity at scale. Gavi will be key to determining equitable allocation, and it knows how to introduce new vaccines to poorer countries where health systems are more fragile. Gavi's model to help vaccines reach the poorest, and it is a vital part of the ACT Accelerator. We strongly support this, and GSK and the wider industry are absolutely committed to working with you.
Thank you, Emma. Now, before we finish, we have time for a quick response from each of our panelists. What do you think will be key to Gavi keeping prices down and bringing new producers into this? Secretary of State Trevelyan.
Thank you. As Gavi's largest donor and a leading contributor to its innovative finance mechanisms, the UK has played and will continue to play a critical role in Gavi's vaccine market shaping. Driving down prices and ensuring access to vaccines is based on needs, not ability to pay. Gavi has demonstrated throughout its 20-year history, from driving down the price of pneumococcal vaccine through the UK-backed AMC to drawing on IFM to incentivize manufacturers to develop an Ebola vaccine during the epidemic in West Africa.
Thank you, Secretary of State. Emma Walmsley, your final thought?
Well, GSK has partnered with Gavi for 20 years and seen that by working together, one, Gavi improves access to the vaccines portfolio, helping to reach those that are still unreached. Two, it's critical for manufacturers. They help develop sustainable vaccine markets and supply security. And three, Gavi actually incentivizes further innovation for vaccines that are still needed, as right now. It's all about partnership, working with industry, recognizing that markets shaped to be sustainable for both countries and business are critical, so that our science can benefit more people around the world, which is what we're here for.
Thank you. And Dr. Seth Berkley here with me in the studio. Your thoughts?
So thanks, Jen. The success of Gavi market shaping is directly correlated with the fact that we leverage the strength of the respective partners. WHO ensures the quality and safety of vaccines through its pre-qualification system. Unicef procures the vaccine demanded by countries. The Gavi Secretariat pools demand, shape market forces, and coordinates the distribution from partners and countries. Donors support these efforts with the critically needed resources and support innovative financing mechanisms. And of course, as you just heard, the vaccine industry commits to innovating and increasing production capacity thanks to the market predictability. Successful market shaping and equitable access to vaccines would not be possible without the know-how, resource, and goodwill of each and everyone involved. On this note, I'd like to thank everybody for being part of this important day and for being such staunch supporters of Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance.
Thank you, Dr. Berkley. Thank you, Secretary of State Trevelyan and Emma Walmsley.
Thank you very much.
So now we have come to the first of 3 pledging sessions to ensure funding for Gavi for the next 5 years. We will start with our donors in Asia and the Middle East regions. But first we have a message from Sheikh Hasina, Prime Minister of Bangladesh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. His Excellency Right Honorable Boris Johnson, His Excellency Dr. Goji Okonjo-Iweala, distinguished guests, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. And a very good afternoon. The present COVID-19 pandemic proved how really powerless we are in the face of any global calamity. It also reminded us of the old saying that prevention is always better than cure. For prevention, vaccination has proved to be one of the most important means to combat infectious diseases. In this journey, Gavi has been a time-tested partner with us towards achieving universal health coverage and SDGs. Since my first tenure as Prime Minister, we have relentlessly been working to bring the fruit of development to the last person in the line. In our efforts, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, has provided continuous support to expand immunization coverage up to 98%. Our universal health coverage program could not have been successful without Gavi's active participation and contribution of $700 million. Dear friends, Bangladesh is hosting 1.1 million forcibly displaced Myanmar nationals at a great financial, social, and environmental cost. Our health officials and workers from international organizations are working to limit the number of COVID-19 cases in the Rohingya camps. So far, only 5 cases were detected till last month in the most densely populated camps in the world. Gavi is helping us by funding $11 million for cholera, measles, and rubella vaccines for the Rohingyas. The current and newer vaccines will be needed for the survival of the humans, and Gavi can provide us the best support in this battle. Our simple wish can ensure that Gavi is fully funded to strengthen immunization infrastructure and help immunize 300 million additional children and save up to 8 million lives in Gavi-supported countries. Thank you all once again.
Thank you so much. And now, before we go to the pledges, we're going to hear from one of Gavi's implementing countries. Ghana has introduced all of the vaccines that Gavi supports. President Nana Akufo-Addo is with us now. Over to you, Mr. President. Hello. Thanks.
Thank British Prime Minister Right Honourable Boris Johnson, mercifully now fully recovered from the virus, for convening this year's Global Vaccine Summit, albeit through virtual means, and for the opportunity to deliver these brief remarks. This year's summit could not have come at a more opportune moment. We're in a race against time to secure a vaccine to fight off a virus, which in some 6 months has wreaked havoc in all parts of the world, occasioned the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people, and brought every economy on the planet to its knees. Today, we appreciate fully the fact that the availability of safe, effective, and essential medicine is a bulwark for the delivery of optimal health care for all. For us in the developing world, including Africa, access and use of essential medicine remains suboptimal, with nearly 2 billion people, according to WHO, without essential medicines and vaccines. They save lives and improve healthcare delivery when they're available, affordable, and are of assured quality. Gavi has shown the way by helping to improve access to vaccines for children, especially those living in deprived parts of the world. Ghana has received Gavi help in the areas of vaccine grants and strengthening of health systems, including support of our vaccine cold chain system and targeted technical assistance through WHO, Unicef, and CDC. The global spread of COVID-19 has told us in no uncertain terms that diseases know no boundaries and no country can afford to go it alone. We must ensure equitable access to health services and commodities. As has been said, only a people's vaccine, with equality and solidarity at its core, can protect all of humanity from the virus and get our societies running safely again. A bold international agreement to this end cannot wait. We've all gone down together. We should all rise together. Let us support Gavi's mission and help create a healthy world for all. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President Akufo-Addo. Thank you for joining us. We're now ready to start this round of pledges. The first pledge coming from His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of Qatar.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيدات والسادة، أتوجه بالشكر والتقدير إلى السيد بوريس جونسون رئيس وزراء المملكة المتحدة على تنظيم واستضافة هذا المؤتمر الهام. تمثل جائحة كوفيد-19 تحديا غير مسبوق وتهديدا للإنسانية جمعاء على الأصعدة كافة. وفي غياب لقاح أو علاج فعال وجدت بعض الدول والمجتمعات نفسها أمام خيارين أحلاهما مر، فإما الوقاية بالإغلاقات التي قد تشل الاقتصاد أو عدم التضحية بالاقتصاد والمجازفة بحياة الناس. وقد اختارت بعض الدول حلولا توفيقية بالجمع بين مواصلة الحياة بوجود الوباء ومكافحته في الوقت ذاته. لقد بيّنت هذه الأزمة أنه لا بديل عن التعاون الدولي وتبادل الخبرات، الأمر الذي يفرض مضاعفة الجهود المشتركة للقضاء على كوفيد-19 باللقاح والعلاجات الفعالة، والاستعداد لمواجهة الأوبئة المستجدة على المدى البعيد. لم تألو دولة قطر جهدا في تعزيز الاستجابة السريعة لمواجهة التداعيات الخطيرة للأزمة، وسارعت لاتخاذ جميع الإجراءات والتدابير الوقائية للحد من تأثيرها وحماية مواطنيها والمقيمين على أرضها. وانطلاقا من التضامن الإنساني قمنا بتقديم المساعدات الطبية إلى أكثر من 20 دولة في أنحاء العالم، تتمثل في إمدادات بمعدات طبية وبناء مستشفيات ميدانية، بالإضافة إلى تقديم مساهمة مالية بمبلغ 140 مليون دولار لمؤسسات الرعاية الصحية متعددة الأطراف التي تعمل في تطوير اللقاحات وعلى ضمان كفاءة الرعاية الصحية خصوصا في الدول الأقل نمواً. وفي هذا السياق ندعو المجتمع الدولي إلى العمل المشترك لضمان العدالة في توفير الأدوية والمعدات الطبية اللازمة لكافة الدول. وتجدد دولة قطر دعمها لمنظمة الصحة العالمية في تنسيقها للجهود الرامية لمكافحة جائحة كوفيد-19 وتعزيز الجاهزية العالمية لمواجهة الأمراض المعدية مستقبلاً. وأود أن أعلن عن تعهد جديد من دولة قطر للتحالف غافي بقيمة 20 مليون دولار. وفي الختام أجدد شكري للمملكة المتحدة على تنظيم هذا المؤتمر، متمنيا أن يحقق أهدافه المنشودة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
COVID-19 pandemic is putting us all to the test. It's a global pandemic, it's an economic crisis, massive social disruption, all happening simultaneously and in real time. In many countries, the pandemic is disrupting routine immunisation as health systems focus on protecting communities, and this also carries great risk. Our work today is to ensure that all children, regardless of where they live, have access to life-saving vaccines. And I'm pleased to announce Australia's renewed commitment to Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. Our pledge today is $300 million Australian dollars. This is a 20% increase on our previous commitment. It means people around the world, especially in our Indo-Pacific region, will have improved access to vaccines. The Alliance is a great partner. We've already achieved so much together. Globally, 760 million children are now immunised, and countries have realised more than $150 billion US in economic benefit. That's thanks to Gavi's efforts. We're proud to be a part of it. In our region, Gavi's impact has been profound. Gavi's support for the government of Indonesia to introduce pneumococcal conjugate vaccines. PCV will protect 4 million children against pneumonia every year. And it will happen at just a quarter of the commercial market rate. For our Pacific family, our Vavale, our Whanau and our Timor-Leste friends, the Alliance has enabled more than 1.5 million children
to be vaccinated. Remarkable achievements. The task now is to ensure they are not undermined by the unprecedented challenge of COVID-19, which is why the Alliance is continuing to support immunisations wherever possible. When the pandemic loosens its grip, we will be able to focus on building back stronger health systems. And we will see Gavi playing a key role in making COVID-19 vaccines affordable and available and accessible to all countries, particularly those most in need. We understand that there is a challenge beyond just finding the vaccine. Getting it to people is equally often as challenging as developing the vaccine in the first place. In these challenging times, there is strength, therefore, in collaboration. And so I want to thank the UK government for hosting Gavi's third pledging conference. And I want to thank Prime Minister Johnson for his leadership in pulling this together. I want to thank everyone for the ability to contribute today and be part of these ongoing and very important collaborative efforts, particularly at this incredibly difficult time for our global family.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson, Chair of the Gavi Board, Dr. Nkosi Okonjo-Iweala, colleagues, dear participants, good afternoon. At the unusual time when countries around the world are joining hands in battling COVID-19, this global vaccine summit cannot be more relevant. I wish to thank the United Kingdom and Gavi for putting this event together. In responding to the sudden onslaught of COVID-19, China has put people first and made saving lives a first-order priority. With painstaking efforts of the Chinese people, we brought the virus under effective containment, but the battle is not over yet. The health and safety of the people in one country matters to all countries. No country can tackle the disease on its own. At the opening of the recent 73rd World Health Assembly, President Xi Jinping called for building a global community of health for all and put forward China's proposals and initiatives for boosting international cooperation against COVID-19. China will continue to do its best to help affected countries, especially developing ones, bolster their COVID-19 response and socio-economic recovery. As COVID-19 is still raging unabated and formidable challenges remain, vaccines are a strong shield against the virus. China will continue to support WHO's central role in coordinating vaccine R&D and push forward multi-center clinical trials of vaccines to facilitate early deployment and application of the research outcomes. Through these efforts, we hope to make available safe, effective and quality public goods to the world and contribute to vaccine accessibility and affordability in developing countries. Here in China, we are working around the clock for breakthroughs in vaccines, therapeutics and testing reagents. So far, investment from the Chinese government and private sector in these areas has topped 4 billion yuan. It is estimated to exceed 10 billion in total. China attaches importance to the international cooperation on the research and development of vaccines. The Chinese side participated in the recent Coronavirus Global Response Pledging Conference hosted by the European Union and other parties, and is ready to strengthen such cooperation with all sides. China has enjoyed good cooperation with Gavi. The alliance helped found a program in China involving expanded vaccination and international application of vaccines. To meet the challenges of COVID-19, I am pleased to announce that the Chinese government will make a contribution of $20 million to the Gavi funding for the period 2021 to 2025. We will also encourage Chinese research institutes and vaccine producers to collaborate closely with Gavi and support its important role in promoting vaccination coverage. We look forward to joining hands with all parties in a spirit of partnership to win an early victory against the virus. Thank you.
Excellencies, thank you for giving me an opportunity to address you. Gavi is not just a global alliance. It is also a symbol of global solidarity and a reminder that by helping others, we can also help ourselves. We understand the importance of immunization. One of the first programs launched by my government was Mission Indradhanush. It aims to ensure full vaccination of our children and pregnant women. Excellencies, India is also the world's foremost producer of vaccines. We are fortunate to contribute to immunization of about 60% of the world's children. Excellencies, India recognizes and values the work of Gavi. That is why we become a donor to Gavi while still being eligible for Gavi support. Our support to Gavi is not only financial. India's huge demand brings down the global price of vaccine. Excellencies, in today's challenging context, I want to reiterate that India stands in solidarity with the world. Our proven capacity to produce quality medicines and vaccines at low cost, our own domestic experience in rapidly expanding immunization, and our considerable scientific research talent, these are all at the service of humanity. Once more, my best wishes for the success of Gavi and its critical mission and of today's meeting. You can count on India's support. Thank you.
本日、グローバルワクチンサミット2020ガビ第3次増資会合が開催されるにあたり、ジョンソン首相のリーダーシップ、ガビのオコンジョ理事会議長およびバークレー事務局長のご尽力に敬意を表します。ガビがこの20年間、ワクチンをあまねく世界に提供することを通じ、我々が目指すユニバーサルヘルスカバレッジの実現に向け、多大な貢献をしてきたことを高く評価します。世界が新型コロナウイルスとの戦いを進める中で、今回の会合は大変意義を得たものです。この戦いの局面を転換する上で、短期的には治療薬、中長期的にはワクチンの開発、さらには途上国を含めた公平なアクセスが死活的に重要です。ワクチンへの公平なアクセスを最優先課題に掲げるガビの方針を強く支持し、その実現を期待します。現在、人類の英知を結集してワクチンの開発が進められています。これが実用化された暁には、途上国に迅速に供給できるよう、今から着実に準備を進めておく必要があり、ガビがその中心的な役割を担うことを大いに期待します。ちょうど1ヶ月前、コロナウイルスグローバル対応サミットにおいて、我が国はコロナ対策としてガビへの1億ドルのプレッジを表明しました。昨年8月に日本はガビの第3次増資準備会合を主催しましたが、日本企業のワクチンや製造・供給能力、さらには日本企業の優れたイノベーションが世界の感染症撲滅のために今まで以上に活用されることを期待しつつ、ガビに対し先月表明した1億ドルに加え、さらに2億ドルを追加し、前回の増資会合から3倍となる3億ドル規模の支援をここにプレッジします。 ガビからのご期待に満額お答えできることを大変嬉しく思います。新型コロナウイルスとの戦いが世界の関心を集める中で、従来の予防接種プログラムが中断、停滞し、本来救えたはずの子どもたちの命が失われてはならないことも、この機会に指摘したいと思います。私は延期された2020年東京オリンピック・パラリンピック競技大会を人類が新型コロナウイルスとの戦いに打ち勝った証として、来年の夏に完全な形で開催する決意です。感染症に国境はありません。ガビの活動を支援するため、国際社会の行動を結集し、この増主会合を成功させ、共にこの危機を乗り切ろうではありませんか。ありがとうございました。
Tēnā koutou katoa. Hello everyone, greetings from Aotearoa, New Zealand. The COVID-19 pandemic has had far-reaching and devastating impacts around the world. I want to extend my sympathy and that of all New Zealanders to everyone affected, whether by the illness itself or through its impact on people's jobs and well-being. Although every country has been affected in different ways, we all need effective tools against the virus. Above all, we need a vaccine to prevent its spread. And when we find that vaccine, it must be available to everyone. I've already announced New Zealand is contributing $37 million to support these efforts under the ACT Accelerator convened by the European Union. I'm pleased to announce that $7 million of this will go to the Gavi Vaccine Alliance. New Zealand will join with Gavi and others to make sure developing countries, including our Pacific Island neighbours, have access to the vaccine as and when they need it to protect their communities. Thank you to the UK for bringing us together today. This is a time for us to come together to achieve a global solution. As long as one person is at risk from COVID-19, we are all at risk. As we say here in New Zealand, he waka eke noa, we are all in this together. Noho ora mai, stay safe, stay well.
Thank you all. Now we are joined by Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Nasser Al Mohammed Al Sabah, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Kuwait. He joins us as the envoy of His Highness the Emir. Minister, welcome.
Thank you so much. At the outset, I would like to convey the message to all from His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jabr Sabah, the Emir of the State of Kuwait, expressing His Highness's sincere appreciation for holding this important summit. I would also like to thank His Excellency Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Her Excellency Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala for hosting this important event. Kuwait believes that while there are many challenges facing our world today, none are more prominent or have had more impact than the spread of COVID-19. It is in this uncertain times that this global summit is more important than ever. In this regard, Kuwait has established its strategy to combat COVID-19 in 5 pillars. First, Kuwait firmly believes that all people are entitled to health security, vaccine and immunization play a central role in ensuring health and safety for all. This summit provides an opportunity to send a message to the world that the fair distribution of vaccines and immunization will be guaranteed, especially in developing countries. Second, Kuwait affirms its full support of the Gavi strategy for the upcoming 2021-2025 period, which includes plans to immunize more than 1 billion children by the end of 2025. Third, Kuwait is honored and proud to continue its important partnership with Gavi. In 2019, Kuwait, represented by the Kuwait Fund for Economic Development, partnered with Gavi to finance programs and distribute vaccines for children in low-income countries and to improve the humanitarian situation for Syrian refugees residing in other countries. It is in this spirit of cooperation that Kuwait, based on its firm belief in the necessity of international solidarity and synergy in the battle against COVID-19 pandemic, will continue to support the Gavi strategy. Fourth, Kuwait stresses that international cooperation and coordination is necessary in order to accelerate the manufacture and distribution of vaccine. It will best be accomplished by supporting the strategy and roadmap placed by Gavi. Fifth, while Kuwait is immensely proud of its partnership and accomplishment with Gavi, we have also initiated several humanitarian projects under the patronage of His Highness the Emir, aimed at supporting health systems.
Oh, thank you so much, Minister. We appreciate all of your pledges and your commitment to the programme. Now we're going to hear from His Highness Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Saudi Arabia.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أصحاب الفخامة والسمو والمعالي، دولة رئيس وزراء المملكة المتحدة، سعادة رئيس التحالف العالمي للقاحات والتحصين، السيدات والسادة، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. يسرني أن أشكر حكومة المملكة المتحدة ودولة رئيس الوزراء السيد بوريس جونسون على استضافة مؤتمر القمة العالمية للقاحات والتحصين في دورته الثالثة. أود التأكيد على دعم حكومة بلادي للأعمال النبيلة التي يقوم بها التحالف، وعلى الجهود التي يبذلها في حماية الأرواح وتقليل مخاطر انتشار الأوبئة وما يتبعها من آثار صحية واجتماعية. ويثبت لنا أكثر من أي وقت مضى الحاجة الملحة لتكاتفنا جميعا والالتزام بمسؤولياتنا تجاه الإنسانية لمواجهة هذه التحديات المشتركة. وفي هذا الإطار فقد سبق أن ساهمت حكومة بلادي في عام 2016 بقيمة 25 مليون دولار لدعم جهود التحالف. وأود أن أعيد التأكيد على ما تضمنته كلمة خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز في القمة الافتراضية مجموعة ال20 أن المحافظة على صحة الإنسان هي في طليعة اهتمامات حكومة المملكة العربية السعودية ومقدمة أولوياتها. السيدات والسادة، إن حكومة بلادي انطلاقا من مبادئها الإسلامية وقيمها الإنسانية قدمت خلال العقود الثلاثة الماضية أكثر من 86 مليار دولار من المساعدات الإنسانية لمختلف دول العالم، وذلك لتحقيق سبل العيش الكريم وتوفير الرعاية الصحية. وقد استفادت من هذه المساعدات أكثر من 81 دولة. وما زالت المملكة العربية السعودية تواصل مسيرة جهودها الإنسانية العالمية، حيث استضافت في شهر مارس الماضي بصفتها رئيسة لمجموعة دول ال20 قمة استثنائية برئاسة خادم الحرمين الشريفين الملك سلمان بن عبد العزيز لتنسيق الجهود العالمية لمكافحة جائحة كورونا والحد من تأثيرها الإنساني والاقتصادي. وأعلنت خلالها عن تقديم 500 مليون دولار لدعم الجهود الدولية لمكافحة هذه الجائحة وتعزيز التعهد والاستجابة لحالات الطارئة. ويسرني أن أعلن عن تخصيص مبلغ 150 مليون دولار من هذا الدعم للتحالف العالمي للقاحات والتحصين، والذي سوف يدعم جهود التحالف وخبراته الفريدة من دورها للمساهمة في الاستجابة العالمية للجائحة. السيدة والسادة، إن الحفاظ على الحياة البشرية وحماية صحتهم مهمة سامية تستحق منا جميعا المساهمة والتضحية والدعم لتحقيق مستقبل أفضل يسود بالعدل والاستقرار والازدهار لعالمنا وللأجيال القادمة. شكرا لإنصاتكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in the face of the global spread of COVID-19, it becomes clearer that no one is safe until everyone is safe, and we cannot overemphasize the importance of multilateral efforts and well-coordinated cooperation among all countries and stakeholders. In this spirit, and as one of the first to have dealt with a massive surge in COVID-19 cases, Korea has been actively sharing our experience and knowledge. And recently, we joined forces with like-minded countries to launch 3 Friends groups in New York, Geneva, and Paris to tackle a wide range of challenges that COVID-19 has heaped upon the global community. As one of the leading names in the global health sector, Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, has made remarkable achievements in making the world safer for everyone, such as immunizing 760 million children so far. And COVID-19 has greatly enhanced the expectations placed upon Gavi around the world. Korea, as the first Asian country to join Gavi's efforts in 2010, is ready to scale up our efforts for Gavi's life-saving endeavors. My government will contribute $30 million to Gavi's next replenishment cycle, including $5 million already committed for 2021, and we will explore additional ways to broaden our cooperation with Gavi. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. The final pledge of this round comes from Gavi's midterm review host, Reem Al-Hashimi, Minister of State for International Cooperation from the United Arab Emirates. Minister, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Warm greetings from the United Arab Emirates. I'm pleased to have the opportunity to join you during this very timely vaccine summit. The significant achievements that you can proudly claim have transformed the lives of millions of people all around the world. And now more than ever, we recognize the indispensable role that Gavi plays, reaching every single person with affordable, accessible, life-saving vaccines remains vital and remains a top priority. The UAE government and Gavi have been strong partners for many years, working together to support global efforts such as the quest to eradicate guinea worm, as well as the quest to eradicate polio, and also strengthening many fragile healthcare systems all around the world. We continue to be committed to Gavi. We are one of the first donors to support your Infuse initiative, and in December 2018, we had the honor of hosting the midterm review. We're also dedicating significant resources to the global health agenda, focusing on ending preventable diseases that affects the world's poorest. And we've done that through contributing as well to strengthening the line of work for frontline workers as they continue to deliver life-saving immunization by transporting almost 700 metric tons of medical supplies to 60 countries all around the world to fight COVID-19. That was valued at $130 million. I take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to reaffirm my country's commitment to freeing the next generation from disease and creating a healthier, more prosperous world for all through immunization. Thank you again for the remarkable work that you continue to do all around the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. It was great to see you. And thank you to everyone for your pledges in this section. The funds will help ensure countries around the world are protected from the threat of future epidemics. Now, this is just the start of the pledging rounds. We are going to hear much more throughout the program from all around the world. But first, let's see how healthcare heroes are fighting deadly diseases.
When Ebola broke out in Sierra Leone in 2014, Andrew Kemo was working on the Ebola response team. He became the lead contact tracer in Cambia district, 2 hours drive outside of Freetown.
It was horrible. It was really horrible. I saw people dying. At the beginning, it was scary. The main challenge in contact tracing were getting people to actually believe that indeed there was an outbreak of a disease called Ebola. Understanding the communities, some of communities very hard to reach. It was really challenging. Having a vaccine for Ebola is a welcome news.
Since 2014, through its advance purchase commitment, Gavi has provided funding to fast-track the development of this vaccine. We have established a stockpile of hundreds of thousands of doses. It is these doses that have helped to control the latest Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and will be available free of charge to low-income countries in the event of other outbreaks. But now, there is a new threat. Due to COVID-19 physical distancing measures, health centers like this one, matron of Jenna Wright Clinic in Freetown, only administer 30 vaccinations per day. That number would be up to 60 under normal circumstances. Andrew is worried about the people who will miss out on routine vaccination.
Just like Ebola, it has also seriously affected our healthcare system, because now you can see almost all health interventions have been diverted to COVID response. So if the trend continues like this, no matter, definitely I am worried that we can have outbreaks of diseases like measles. This is why it is very important to continue with routine immunization for children, because it will help to prevent outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases.
Gavi is helping countries adapt routine immunization programs so that they can continue during the COVID-19 pandemic. Gavi is working with partners to set up an innovative mechanism to accelerate development, production, and equitable access to COVID-19 vaccines, to make sure they're available to everyone, no matter where they live.
When we come to the fight of COVID-19, we are in it together.
So let's turn our focus now to another key issue, protecting the ability to provide routine immunization during a pandemic. We have a list of high-level speakers for this segment, but first I will ask Dr. Ngozi, Chair of the Gavi Board in Washington, to give some introductory remarks. Dr. Ngozi.
Thank you, Jen. A critical challenge that countries face during pandemics is to ensure the continuity of routine immunization that serves as the platform through which other basic primary healthcare services can be provided. Health systems in these countries were already weak before the coronavirus. Now they are under severe stress. If we let routine immunization collapse during the pandemic, outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases such as measles, polio, yellow fever, and others will be inevitable. As you know, many countries had to suspend vaccination campaigns against some diseases, which are used to fill the immunization gaps in order to reduce the risk of spreading COVID-19 and to preserve scarce public health resources. Coronavirus-related disruptions to immunization have already led to at least 13.5 million people missing out on life-saving vaccines in Gavi-supported countries. This is extremely worrying. Maintaining routine immunization is critical for countries, not only to prevent countless preventable deaths, but also to strengthen their ability to respond to the pandemic, as well as other socioeconomic challenges. Joining with me today to share their perspective on the importance of routine immunization are His Excellency Mahamadou Issoufou, President of the Republic of Niger, His Excellency Macky Sall, President of the Republic of Senegal, His Excellency Faustin Archange Touadera, President Central African Republic, His Excellency Gotabaya Rajapaksa, President of Sri Lanka, and Ms. Joyce L. Kilipo, Executive Director, Public Health Initiative, Liberia. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Hi there. You're most welcome, sir.
De participer à ce sommet mondial de la vaccination. Permettez-moi de saluer tous les participants, notamment les chefs d'État et de gouvernement. Notre sommet se déroule dans un contexte dominé par la pandémie de la COVID-19, qui n'épargne pas le Niger, mon pays. Au regard de ce qui s'est passé dans d'autres pays dans le monde, le Niger, comme l'Afrique en général, a fait preuve d'une grande résilience. Néanmoins, la COVID-19 a eu de graves conséquences socio-économiques, notamment la baisse de la croissance économique, la chute des recettes fiscales de l'État, l'accroissement de la pauvreté, notamment du chômage, et pour rester dans le secteur de la santé, la perturbation des activités de vaccination de routine. La COVID-19 confirme la liaison étroite qui existe entre santé et développement. La COVID-19 permet de mieux saisir l'importance de la mission de Gavi qui, depuis 2000, a contribué au développement d'une génération saine en vaccinant 700 millions des enfants les plus pauvres. Les vaccins font partie, grâce à Gavi, des interventions sanitaires les plus réussies. Le Niger peut témoigner. Aussi est-il important de mobiliser encore davantage les donateurs, les pays et le secteur privé, en vue de la troisième reconstitution des fonds pour la période stratégique 2021-2025. Avec la COVID-19, je cite, « Préserver et protéger et prospérer est une incontournable nécessité. Il faut accélérer l'élaboration et la production des vaccins, non seulement contre les maladies non transmissibles comme le paludisme, le cancer, le diabète, etc., mais aussi contre la COVID-19. Il faut pour cela mobiliser un minimum de 7,4 milliards de dollars afin de financer les activités de Gavi sur la période 2021-2025. Cela permettra de vacciner plus de 300 millions d'enfants et de contribuer à sauver 8 millions de vies au cours de la prochaine période stratégique. Les enfants et les femmes du Niger, par ma voix, remercient d'avance les donateurs. Je souhaite bonne chance à Gavi et je lui souhaite également beaucoup de succès. Et pour soutenir son action sur cette période, le Niger contribuera à hauteur d'1 million de dollars. Je vous remercie.
And Dr. Ngozi, we can join you back in Washington.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing those experiences, the initiatives, the success stories. None of this would have been possible without your leadership and strong commitment to health. Thank you also for reiterating the importance of Gavi's work in the respective countries in which we work. Indeed, Gavi is working to bolster countries' health systems and keep routine immunization running. To this end, Gavi made a first tranche of US $200 million available to countries. But this sum is marginal compared to the billions of dollars that will be needed to develop and deliver a vaccine that can end the pandemic. To continue its work, Gavi needs at least $7.4 billion, as we've heard their excellencies say, for the 2021 to 2025 period. We all need the vaccine alliance, both to prevent a resurgence of diseases like polio or measles, as well as to ensure the most vulnerable, wherever they live, have access to life-saving vaccines. Because no one in the world is safe until everybody is safe.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Merci Boris pour ton invitation. Ce sommet de Gavi en pleine...
Sorry, we're having a few technical difficulties with our videos, but I'm pleased to tell you that we will be able to join the President of Senegal now.
I thank Prime Minister Johnson for inviting.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Merci Boris pour ton invitation. Ce sommet de Gavi en pleine crise de Covid-19 rappelle l'importance vitale du vaccin. Le Sénégal est satisfait de son partenariat avec le Gavi qui nous a permis de renforcer nos efforts de vaccination et d'obtenir des résultats appréciables dans le cadre de notre programme élargi de vaccination couvrant 13 maladies. Nous avons atteint, voire dépassé les objectifs mondiaux de 90% pour la plupart des antigènes. Et nous avons réduit la mortalité infanto-juvénile de 121 pour 1000 en l'an 2000 à 56 pour 1000 en 2017. Je renouvelle par conséquent le soutien du Sénégal à la campagne de mobilisation des ressources en faveur du Gavi. À présent, nous devons travailler à faire évoluer notre collaboration par l'installation dans les pays bénéficiaires d'unités de production de vaccins, d'intrants pour la vaccination et de tests pour le diagnostic. Le Sénégal, vous le savez, est déjà dans cette dynamique, avec des laboratoires comme l'Institut Pasteur de Dakar. Notre pays a l'expérience, les ressources humaines et l'écosystème nécessaire pour accueillir ce genre d'unité de production. Dans le contexte de la pandémie de Covid-19, il est essentiel que tout vaccin ou traitement mis au point soit accessible à tous les pays. C'est ainsi que nous pourrons vaincre partout la pandémie. Il y va de notre sécurité collective parce que tant que le virus continuera de circuler dans un pays, le risque demeure pour tous les autres. Je vous remercie.
Mesdames et messieurs, je suis très honoré
de prendre part à ce grand rendez-vous mondial de la vaccination. Je remercie très sincèrement le Premier ministre de la Grande-Bretagne. La République centrafricaine a le deuxième taux de mortalité maternelle et infantile au monde. Et la pandémie au coronavirus vient en plus comme un fardeau supplémentaire. Depuis 15 ans, nous avons affiché un taux de couverture de 54% au Penta 3. En 2019, nous avons réussi, grâce au soutien de notre partenaire privilégié Gavi, à atteindre le taux de 83%, ce qui dénote un effort important dans la prévention. Avec le coronavirus, il est apparu d'autres préoccupations. Nos populations, à cause de la désinformation, sont découragées ou ne veulent plus en grand nombre assister aux vaccinations. Et c'est pour cela que nous devions, avec nos partenaires, notamment Gavi, commencer à développer d'autres stratégies pour redonner confiance à nos populations pour la vaccination. Nous demandons à tous nos partenaires pour que Gavi, qui est le premier partenaire dans le cadre de cette stratégie, est mieux financé pour nous aider dans cette action de prévention. Je vous remercie.
I thank Prime Minister Johnson for inviting my participation. Sri Lanka's expanded program of immunization has been institutionalized for over 3 decades and is well integrated with primary health care services. We provide easy and equitable access to quality immunization services for all children. We have a strong surveillance system, and all vaccine preventable diseases are an integral part of the communicable disease surveillance system. We also maintain very high vaccination coverage in all the districts. Sri Lanka maintains an identified budget line for immunization programs, including the purchase of vaccines. Nearly 98% of the cost is borne by the government, demonstrating financial sustainability, which is critical to the success of such programs. We are grateful that Gavi, the WHO, and Unicef are the leading international donors who have been supporting Sri Lanka financially. Sri Lanka's challenge is to continue to maintain program quality and timely introduction of newer vaccines as the need arises. We are keener than ever to safeguard our success in disease control over the last 30 years. I thank you.
My country is still recovering from the Ebola epidemic. We are now battling another one, COVID-19. Having worked at the forefront of Ebola response, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of protecting routine immunizations. The Ebola outbreak led to collapse of most health services, including routine vaccination. Campaigns such as measles were suspended, leaving thousands of children at risk. At the community level, misinformation led to fear and mistrust, which caused parents to avoid health facilities, resulting in significant drop in routine immunization coverage. The immunity gap in the aftermath of Ebola led to the worst measles outbreak in years. By 2019, we have recorded about 4,000 suspected cases. We are currently witnessing similar situation with COVID-19, and we cannot afford to let the history repeat itself. With lessons learned from Ebola, community engagement should be at the forefront and center of what we do. I feel our programs equip communities with the right information and right resources to fight against misinformation, which help community maintain trust in healthcare workers and immunization services. Women are key to our community-based effort. That is why we place special emphasis on empowering women for scale-up and lasting impact. A fully funded Gavi is critical for countries to continue to build resilient health systems, to respond quickly to global health threats, and stop outbreaks.
Now we're ready to begin the second pledging session. In a moment, I will give the floor to the European donors. But first, a message by Roch Marc Christian Kabore, President of Burkina Faso.
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je tiens à exprimer ma sincère gratitude au Premier ministre Boris Johnson et au gouvernement du Royaume-Uni pour l'organisation du sommet mondial sur la vaccination par visioconférence. C'est un témoignage de notre engagement commun en faveur de la santé des enfants à qui Gavi apporte son soutien. Je suis fier de vous annoncer que la couverture vaccinale du Burkina Faso dépasse 91% depuis plus de 10 ans. Ces 20 années d'efforts passés à sauver des vies et à protéger des populations pourraient être fortement menacées par la pandémie de la COVID-19 si elle n'est pas rapidement maîtrisée. Le Burkina Faso a une longue expérience de partenariat avec Gavi, l'Alliance du vaccin. Avec Gavi, nous avons investi plus de 260 millions de dollars américains dans l'approvisionnement en vaccins, dans le renforcement de notre système de santé et dans les campagnes de vaccination. Ensemble, nous avons réussi à prévenir des maladies mortelles et à protéger nos communautés en permettant à des millions de Burkinabés d'avoir facilement accès aux vaccins contre la rougeole, contre la pneumonie, contre la fièvre jaune, contre la poliomyélite et contre les maladies diarrhéiques, pour ne citer que quelques maladies infectieuses. Il ne suffit pas d'avoir des partenaires solides comme Gavi. Il faut également être doté d'un système de santé fonctionnel et d'une volonté politique forte en faveur de la santé des enfants. Dès 2016, le gouvernement burkinabé a instauré la gratuité des soins de santé pour les enfants de moins de 5 ans et pour les femmes enceintes. Cette politique a permis de lever la barrière financière à l'accès aux soins pour cette frange de la population. Comme vous le savez, mon pays connaît des difficultés sur le plan sécuritaire qui affectent notre capacité à faire face à toutes les urgences et à toutes les priorités du moment. Malgré cela, j'ai veillé personnellement à ce que la santé soit au rang des premières priorités. Nous avons ainsi maintenu le budget annuel de la santé à 13% et avec mon gouvernement, nous œuvrons à améliorer par de nouvelles infrastructures sanitaires l'offre de soins dans toutes les régions. Je demande à tous les donateurs de soutenir Gavi afin de lui permettre de mobiliser la totalité du financement dont elle a besoin pour éviter la réapparition des maladies évitables par la vaccination. Je le demande pour les enfants burkinabés et pour les millions d'enfants africains. C'est pourquoi, malgré les contraintes qui sont les nôtres, le Burkina Faso s'engage à allouer à Gavi $1 million américains pour contribuer à la campagne de reconstitution de ses ressources. En travaillant ensemble pour assurer la survie et l'épanouissement des populations de Burkina Faso, de l'Afrique et du monde entier, nous écrivons les plus belles pages de notre histoire commune. Je vous remercie.
And thank you, Mr. President. Now we'll start this pledge section with His Serene Highness Prince Albert of Monaco.
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, cette troisième conférence de reconstitution des fonds de l'Alliance Gavi qui nous réunit aujourd'hui par visioconférence sous message vidéo enregistré revêt une importance toute particulière au regard de la crise sanitaire mondiale à laquelle nous sommes confrontés. La période que nous vivons actuellement illustre à quel point il est primordial de préserver la santé de nos populations. Les multiples impacts de la pandémie de Covid-19 sur nos sociétés le démontrent quotidiennement. La Principauté de Monaco est partenaire de l'Alliance Gavi depuis plusieurs années et je me félicite de l'excellence de cette collaboration qui permet, par le déploiement de la vaccination, de sauver de nombreuses vies. La pandémie de Covid-19 nous rappelle, si nous l'avons oublié, l'utilité fondamentale de la vaccination. La pneumonie, la tuberculose ou encore la rougeole continuent de tuer des milliers d'enfants alors même que des vaccins existent. Le 4 mai dernier, lors de la conférence des donateurs organisée par la Commission européenne sur la réponse mondiale au coronavirus, j'ai annoncé la participation de la Principauté de Monaco à cette mobilisation internationale. J'ai le plaisir de confirmer que mon gouvernement allouera l'essentiel de cet appui d'urgence à l'Alliance parce que le Gavi dispose à la fois du mandat et des moyens d'action efficaces pour maintenir l'effort de vaccination et avancer sur l'accès aux futurs vaccins dans le cadre de l'initiative Accélérateur mondial contre la Covid-19. Dans un contexte où la pandémie a malheureusement fait ressurgir des tendances nationalistes et protectionnistes, il est vital que nous nous mobilisions de façon coordonnée et solidaire afin de garantir un accès équitable à tous aux vaccins. Aussi, la Principauté de Monaco apporte-t-elle une contribution accrue au plan d'investissement 2021-2025 de l'Alliance. Je m'engage à ce que mon pays verse une contribution volontaire de 1,25 million d'euros entre 2020 et 2025. N'oublions pas que le succès de l'Alliance au cours des prochaines années est également déterminant pour progresser dans la mise en œuvre des objectifs de développement durable que nous nous sommes fixés dans le cadre de l'agenda 2030. Tirons les leçons de la crise actuelle pour renforcer les mécanismes de coopération internationale et ainsi assurer un avenir durable à tous. Je vous remercie.
Vaccination means freedom from fear. The coronavirus has reminded us of this old truth. 20 years ago, governments from all over the world joined forces with the private sector so that vaccines could become a universal right for all humankind. And this is how Gavi was born. And the European Union has been at Gavi's side since the very beginning of this adventure. In 2000, 10 million children worldwide were dying before their 5th birthday. This number has been cut to half. Gavi has brought life-saving vaccines to millions of families that could not afford them. You have made immunization accessible to all across the globe. The European Union is proud to be part of this story. The Vaccine Alliance has built a network and a playbook to fight infectious disease. When the coronavirus pandemic began, you knew exactly what to do. So it was natural for us to join forces with you once again. In the last month, the European Union has helped raise almost 10 billion euros to fight coronavirus. Of these, 1.5 is for Gavi. Our common aim with Gavi and many other partners is to speed up the delivery of an affordable COVID-19 vaccine for all who need it. To that end, we are ready to discuss the merits of a global COVID-19 vaccine procurement. Yet, Gavi's mission goes well beyond the current pandemic. We must keep fighting polio, the human papillomavirus, and many other killer diseases. Today, the European Commission is pledging 300 million euros for Gavi for the 2021 to 2025 period in the framework of the new European budget. This is more than all previous EU contributions taken together. And it comes on top of what EU member states contribute. In extraordinary times, we need an extraordinary mobilization. It should not matter where you are born and how wealthy your family is. Vaccination is a universal human right. And this is why Gavi was created and why Europe will continue to be at your side.
Monsieur le Premier ministre, cher Boris Johnson, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, Madame la Présidente du Conseil d'administration de Gavi, cher Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, Monsieur le Directeur général, cher Seth Berkley, Mesdames et Messieurs, je veux d'abord remercier le Royaume-Uni pour l'organisation de ce sommet mondial sur la vaccination. Quelques mois après le succès obtenu à Lyon pour reconstituer les ressources du Fonds mondial de lutte contre le sida, la tuberculose et le paludisme, nous devons être collectivement au rendez-vous de cet autre pilier essentiel de la santé mondiale, l'égal accès de tous au vaccin. Il y a 20 ans, l'Alliance du vaccin est née d'une idée simple qui a transformé des millions de vies, rendre accessibles de nouveaux vaccins efficaces et fournir ainsi aux enfants du monde entier une protection contre les maladies infectieuses. Faire en sorte que tous, quel que soit le pays où ils naissent, aient un égal accès aux vaccins d'importance vitale. Ces 20 ans écoulés, c'est l'histoire de femmes et d'hommes qui se sont engagés pour que cette idée devienne une réalité en réunissant les acteurs publics et privés, en alliant leurs forces pour accélérer et faire la différence sur le terrain. C'est l'histoire d'une génération qui a pu ainsi être mieux protégée et construire sa vie. 760 millions d'enfants vaccinés, 13 millions de vies sauvées. C'est l'histoire de la lutte contre les inégalités de destin qui doit tant, souvenons-nous-en, à l'engagement de Nelson Mandela dans les années 2000, lui qui refusait que la vie ou la mort d'un enfant dépende trop souvent de l'accessibilité des vaccins dans le pays où il naît. Cette histoire n'est pas terminée. Et c'est à notre tour de l'écrire. Les défis restent colossaux et nous les connaissons. De nombreux pays à revenus faibles et intermédiaires ont fait des pas de géant en améliorant la couverture vaccinale. Mais l'OMS l'a rappelé il y a quelques jours. Les cibles fixées pour l'élimination de maladies telles que la rougeole, la rubéole, le tétanos maternel et néonatal pourraient ne pas être atteintes s'il n'y a pas de sursaut d'ici la fin 2020. Des dizaines de millions d'enfants dans le monde ne reçoivent toujours pas les vaccins dont ils ont besoin et ce sont le plus souvent ceux qui sont exposés au conflit, à l'insécurité, à toutes les inégalités. La pandémie de Covid-19 ne fait qu'amplifier ces défis, les rendre plus graves, plus urgents encore. En ébranlant les services de vaccination dans le monde entier, la crise expose près de 80 millions d'enfants de moins d'1 an à des maladies telles que la diphtérie, la rougeole, la poliomyélite. Il est donc impératif de redoubler d'efforts pour soutenir les systèmes de santé des pays les plus fragiles, leur permettre ainsi de maintenir les programmes de vaccination. C'est le premier enjeu majeur de cette conférence de reconstitution. Gavi a aujourd'hui besoin de ressources pour continuer à remplir sa mission, c'est-à-dire vacciner des enfants, des jeunes, des adolescents, des adultes, sauver ainsi 8 millions de vies supplémentaires dans les 5 années à venir. Notre lutte contre le coronavirus ne doit pas nous empêcher de remporter cet autre combat. Il est vital de maintenir les efforts pour la vaccination contre les autres maladies, pour éviter le fléau de flambées épidémiques pour des maladies qu'on connaît malheureusement si bien, comme la polio ou la rougeole, et d'autres qui peuvent être terriblement meurtrières, comme Ebola ou la fièvre jaune. La France prendra toute sa part à cet effort, qui doit être historique pour répondre aux enjeux qui sont devant nous, avec un effort additionnel de 250 millions d'euros, qui porte notre contribution totale sur le cycle qui s'ouvre de 2021 à 2026 à 500 millions d'euros, et qui vient s'ajouter à notre mobilisation renforcée aux côtés de l'Organisation mondiale de la santé, du Fonds mondial et des systèmes de santé africains. Le deuxième enjeu, c'est de faire en sorte, dès maintenant, qu'un vaccin contre le Covid-19, lorsqu'il sera découvert, bénéficie à tous, parce qu'il sera un bien public mondial. C'est l'un des objectifs essentiels de l'initiative ACT-A, que nous avons porté avec l'Organisation mondiale de la santé, la Commission européenne, le Royaume-Uni et bien d'autres, et qui trouve aujourd'hui, au travers de cette conférence, une nouvelle traduction concrète. C'est pourquoi la France sera prête, comme le demande l'Alliance, à augmenter de 100 millions d'euros sa contribution lorsqu'un vaccin efficace contre le Covid-19 sera disponible, afin d'en assurer la diffusion à un prix abordable, tout en maintenant le niveau d'engagement nécessaire contre les autres maladies. ce qui se joue maintenant, lors de cette conférence. C'est ce qui a présidé à la fondation de l'Alliance, le droit de tous à la santé, le droit fondamental de chacun à bénéficier, quel que soit le pays où il vit, aux mêmes chances de construire son destin. C'est la source du combat contre toutes les inégalités et c'est un choix fondamental pour le monde d'aujourd'hui et de demain, pour le monde que nous voulons construire après cette pandémie. Nous serons là engagés. Je vous remercie.
Thank you, President Macron. Now it's a pleasure to have the host of the Gavi 2015 Replenishment Summit joining us from Berlin, Chancellor Angela Merkel. Chancellor Merkel, the floor is yours.
Well, Secretary General, dear Antonio Guterres, dear Boris Johnson, Mr. Berkeley, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank all participants to this truly important conference. Together we want and we can create the necessary preconditions so that over the next few years more than 300 million children can be vaccinated to protect them against life-threatening diseases. Thus, we want to and we can increase the chances for more than 300 million young people to enjoy a healthy life. 300 million, that is not only a number, it represents 300 million individual lives, and that is what we must not forget, even if we discuss now financial contributions. Through COVID-19, the work of Gavi has become even more important. A virus that has a global spread can only effectively be combated if we work together all over the world. Part and parcel of this is to build up research alliances. We must simplify procedures to come faster to results. And last but not least, it will be essential to strengthen stakeholders in the health sector, such as Gavi, for as soon as there is a suitable vaccine discovered, we need to be able to immediately start a global vaccination campaign. Every day counts, and immunization means protecting lives, and that must not be dependent on the country in which one lives. Effective vaccines must be affordable all over the world. They must be available and accessible to all. That is a gigantic task to which Gavi has committed itself for 20 years now, and this with great success. So far, more than 760 million children were vaccinated against dangerous diseases. It was therefore possible to almost eradicate polio, for example. And I'm delighted that Germany, as one of the biggest supporters of Gavi, was able to lend a contribution to this. But we do see that COVID-19 jeopardizes further progress. It's not only the virus in and of itself that poses a significant health risk. The pandemic also has a negative impact on various health measures. For example, immunization programs against measles and tuberculosis. And there is a very real risk, therefore, of other infectious diseases increasing. Again, the WHO has estimated that, well, about 80 million children might well be affected all over the world. That means we must not neglect our traditional established vaccination programs. Gavi must be enabled to continue to fulfill its tasks also in the future, and successfully so. This is why Germany will continue to support Gavi over the next 5 years with 600 million euros. And in addition, Germany has pledged 100 million euros during the COVID-19 Donors Conference of the European Union. If we stand together, if we work together, we can remove the sting of infectious diseases. Where there is a will, there is a way, and in Gavi, we have a helpful guide along the way. I wish Gavi and all of us a successful conference, and I thank with all my heart all those who contribute to make today's event possible.
Thank you, Chancellor Merkel, for joining us from Berlin. Now we continue our European pledging session, beginning with the President of Switzerland, Simonetta Sommaruga.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I will never forget the sight of patients who were no longer able to breathe without help in my country's hospitals. We must do everything in our power to prevent a repeat of this suffering, especially as the global fight against this pandemic continues. That is why any vaccine developed against COVID-19 has to be available worldwide, also in low and middle-income countries. I would therefore like to thank the United Kingdom for hosting this very timely summit. The prospect of developing a vaccine gives us the hope that we can end this crisis. Scientists are working around the clock, collaborating in an exceptional manner to develop a vaccine that is safe and effective. The acceleration of research, development and production of such a vaccine, as well as its equitable distribution, are goals shared by Switzerland. We are fully committed to helping to achieve them. There are many obstacles along the way, and we have to take decisions under a great deal of uncertainty. Yet I am convinced that these goals can be achieved by applying a collaborative and pragmatic approach with the support of key institutions in the multilateral framework. Meanwhile, we must also maintain the provision of essential health services regarding other infectious diseases. Switzerland supports research and development on COVID-19 at national and international level, for instance, by providing financial contributions to CEPI and to the WHO. Access to diagnostics, treatments, and vaccines against COVID-19 is at the heart of Swiss international support in this crisis. Gavi can help ensure that the future vaccine also reaches people in the poorest countries. I have the pleasure to announce that Switzerland will contribute $30 million to Gavi over the next 4 years as part of a total contribution of $75 million to the coronavirus global response. To overcome this pandemic, I am convinced that what we need is solidarity and international cooperation in a multilateral setting with the WHO at the center. Thank you very much.
Saygıdeğer devlet ve hükümet başkanları, etkinliğe ev sahipliği yapan değerli dostum Sayın Johnson, Gavi'nin mümtaz yöneticileri, kıymetli katılımcılar, sizleri şahsım ve milletim adına en kalbi duygularımla saygıyla selamlıyorum. Aşı ve bağışıklaştırma için küresel ittifakın 2021-2025 yılı hedeflerine ulaşmasını canı gönülden temenni ediyorum. Covid-19 esasen büyük bir aile olduğumuzu, kaderimizin ve geleceğimizin ortak olduğunu bizlere bir kez daha hatırlatmıştır. Türkiye, salgının başından bu yana küresel dayanışmanın ve işbirliğinin altını çizmiştir. Bu süreçte bir taraftan kendi ihtiyaçlarımızı giderirken, diğer taraftan da tüm dostlarımızın yardımına koştuk. Şimdiye kadar 102 ülkeye tıbbi malzeme desteğinde bulunduk. Salgınla mücadelede milli çabalarımız kapsamında aşı ve ilaç çalışmaları yapmak üzere özel bir platform kurduk. Özel sektör ve üniversitelerin yanı sıra bu platformun şemsiyesi altında yürütülen 17 projenin 8'i sadece aşı geliştirilmesi amacına vakfedilmiştir. Dolayısıyla Türkiye olarak şimdiden yukarıdaki uluslararası yardım ve aşı geliştirme faaliyetleri için 75 milyon avroyu aşan bir harcama yaptık. Aşı geliştirme çabalarında oluşan küresel sinerjinin devamına büyük önem veriyoruz. Bugünkü zirveyi de 26 Mart'ta icra ettiğimiz G20 olağanüstü zirvesi ile 4 Mayıs'ta iştirak ettiğimiz koronavirüs küresel mukabele taahhüt etkinliğini destekleyen ve tamamlayan bir girişim olarak görüyoruz. Şüphesiz aşının bulunması kadar insanlığın ortak malı olması, herkes için yeterli sayıda üretilmesi de son derece önemlidir. Koronavirüs salgınının dünyadaki adaletsizlikleri daha fazla derinleştirmesine izin verilmemelidir. Kıymetli dostlar, sözlerime son verirken Türkiye'nin salgın sonrası döneme ilişkin çalışmalarda da Gavi ve diğer paydaşlarla işbirliği içerisinde hareket etmeye hazır olduğunu vurgulamak isterim. İcraatların sözlerden daha yüksek sesle konuşulduğu bir dünya temennisiyle sizlere saygılarımı sunuyorum. Kalın sağlıcakla.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to be here today to address the important issues we are facing because of the COVID-19 pandemic. In times of crisis and pandemics like the one that now rages, the importance of good and accessible healthcare for every single person, along with a robust and comprehensive social system, is extremely important. The pandemic has also underscored that it is crucial to remain united in international efforts. When we share ideas, knowledge, and resources, we all benefit. Universal access to safe vaccines against epidemic diseases is one of the most important aspects of public health. It contributes to the most fundamental of human rights, the right to life. Vaccinations give people of all generations the opportunity to live a full and healthy life. We must facilitate global, equitable access to vaccines and a fair allocation to all while making sure that the challenges of the current COVID-19 crisis does not affect necessary routine vaccinations. Gender equality must be in the forefront of all our policy making. We must ensure gender equality and access to immunizations and confront gender-related barriers to immunization. Access to vaccines must be open and available to every single person, not just to privileged groups. All countries must do their share in the battle against COVID-19 and other communicable diseases. And I am pleased to announce that Iceland is determined to do its part. And in line with the goals of the ACT Accelerator, we will support the Gavi Alliance with a contribution of 250 million Icelandic kronas, or 1.6 million euros. In addition, Iceland will also contribute the same amount to CEPI. Thank you all.
Hello everyone. I'm really pleased to be part of this virtual event on this topic. Vaccines have been saving and improving lives for centuries. They've transformed medical outcomes across the globe. Never before have so many been working so hard to develop a new vaccine. And all around the world, researchers are working in innovative collaboration using cutting-edge medical technologies to find a vaccine for COVID-19. We hope they are successful and quickly. This vaccine will need to be affordable as well as effective, because if we're to be safe, everyone will need to be safe. So a COVID-19 vaccine will need to be distributed equitably, fairly, and globally. Nobody can be left behind, or we'll all be at risk. Ireland strongly supports Gavi's objective to save 22 million lives by increasing the number of children immunised to over 1.1 billion. We've long believed that we need to strengthen our public health services, and it is a priority for our international development programme. In a time of crisis, conflict, and COVID-19, we need to protect essential health services, including vaccine programmes, and avoid disruption. If Ireland is elected to the Security Council for the 2021-2022 term, we will champion the widest possible immunisation programmes and work to create a delivery system that is resilient, strong and fair. So on behalf of the Irish people, I'm today happy to confirm my pledge of 18 million euros to Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, for the period 2021 to 2025. It's part of our mission to enable the furthest behind to access a COVID-19 vaccine and maintain life-saving routine immunisation programmes across the world. Thank you very much.
Prime Minister Johnson, dear Boris, Dr. Berkeley, dear colleagues, I would have liked to meet all of you in person today in London. However, given the current global context, I'm pleased to be able to be at least digitally here at this Global Vaccine Summit, Gavi's third donor pledging conference. The COVID-19 pandemic clearly demonstrates the importance of enhanced international cooperation. The role of Gavi and its impact over the next years will be crucial. We are glad that Gavi, our long-term partner, stands ready to support the international effort to combat COVID-19 and deploy a vaccine when it's available. Your long-term expertise will be of great value in delivering an effective and sustainable response to this pandemic. That's why I'm pleased to announce that my country, Luxembourg, will increase its multi-annual contribution to Gavi by 22% and allocate €5 million to the islands for the period 2021-2025. Vaccines are among the most efficient tools to save lives, but universal, fair and equal distribution will be key. It is imperative that we leave no one behind and join our efforts to keep people safe, especially when facing health emergencies worldwide. We are now at a critical juncture. The financial and political support and commitment to health has never been as important. Access to health, to quality care and equal treatment is a human right. That's why my country places health at the center of its development cooperation strategy. The health sector accounts for more than 50% of Luxembourg ODA, and we have sustainably increased our financing for this sector over the past months. It is crucial that we all work together to respond effectively and sustainably to achieve our common objective, protecting people's health. And in this common fight, you can count on Luxembourg as a partner, as a friend, and an ally. Thank you.
The Netherlands has been a proud funder of Gavi ever since its inception in 2000. Thanks to its simple yet innovative approach, aligning all the efforts of governments, multilateral forums, the private sector and civil society, extraordinary results have been achieved, especially the immunization of over 760 million children. And yet too many children still suffer today from preventable diseases like diphtheria and measles. What's more, COVID-19 is disrupting life-saving vaccination services, putting millions at risk. Gavi is playing a key role in the COVID-19 response by working to ensure that any future vaccine is accessible and affordable, and by continuing its routine vaccination programs. We know that overcoming global health crisis requires the active involvement of everyone concerned. Using the Matching Fund, Gavi works successfully with the private sector to find innovative solutions. We challenge the private sector to do even more. At the same time, recipient countries need to invest sufficient resources in healthcare services, including immunization. We call on Gavi to work even more closely with global health partners to align efforts at country level. We must ensure that all investments help foster resilient and sustainable health systems. The Netherlands believes that innovative finance and intelligent use of the capital market can improve the efficiency of funding. The International Finance Facility for Immunization is a perfect example of this. I'm delighted to announce the Netherlands' commitment of €325 million to Gavi between 2021 and 2030. And because we see the International Finance Facility for Immunization as a value-added financing mechanism, our contribution will largely be channeled through the facility and will be extended to a period of 10 years. This is at the request of Gavi. Together, we can make it happen. Thank you.
Señor Primer Ministro, querido Boris, jefes y jefas de Estado, jefes de Gobierno, señoras, señores, agradezco al Gobierno británico y, en consecuencia, al Reino Unido la convocatoria de esta conferencia de reposición de la Alianza para las Vacunas. Es una excelente oportunidad para renovar el compromiso de España, que reconoce la admirable labor de Gavi en un momento tan inédito, tan excepcional como el que estamos viviendo. Hoy somos más conscientes que nunca de nuestra vulnerabilidad ante un virus desconocido como es el COVID-19. Encontrar una vacuna para hacerle frente es urgente y hacerla además accesible y asequible para todos es fundamental, porque la salud de la humanidad también es interdependiente, está absolutamente globalizada. Por ello, el Gobierno de España ha asumido también la responsabilidad de coliderar la creación del ACT Accelerator, en el que Gavi juega un papel clave para que las vacunas lleguen al conjunto de países en vías de desarrollo. España está especialmente implicada con el Objetivo de Desarrollo Sostenible, en el que se propugna la cobertura sanitaria universal. Estamos desarrollando una estrategia de cooperación para alcanzar esa meta y también apoyar financieramente el trabajo de Gavi desde su creación. Es parte lógica de ello. Hoy lo hacemos una vez más. Revalidamos nuestro compromiso y me satisface además anunciar que el Gobierno de España aportará 50 millones de euros para que Gavi pueda seguir realizando su labor durante los próximos 5 años y logremos así inmunizar a 300 millones de niños y de niñas. Garantizar el acceso equitativo a las vacunas es una responsabilidad multilateral y por eso el modelo operativo de Gavi es, a mi juicio, ejemplar, porque conjuga las necesidades de los países en vías de desarrollo con el conocimiento de las principales organizaciones internacionales y también de la experiencia del sector privado. Quisiera concluir haciendo una petición a Gavi para que incremente sus esfuerzos en una región muy próxima a España como es América Latina, que es la región con mayores índices de desigualdad a nivel mundial. Existen allí grandes bolsas de pobreza extrema, regiones especialmente vulnerables en las que Gavi puede desempeñar una labor crucial. Porque, como dice el título de esta reunión, nadie estará protegido hasta que todos estén protegidos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Prime Minister Johnson and UK, for hosting this meeting during these very challenging times. Thank you, Gavi, for making incredible efforts to save people's lives and for making vaccines available for those who need it the most. COVID-19 is a matter of global concern for all countries, with deep effects on the economy and on societies. It requires a global response. Sweden welcomes the important work that Gavi carries out. It is crucial that a vaccine does not become a commodity for a few. We need to act collectively and responsibly to ensure an equal distribution of vaccines against COVID-19 based on needs and not on means. I am committed to make this happen. Gavi and the alliance partners have a crucial role in these efforts. We welcome Gavi's lead in the Accelerating COVID-19 Vaccine Initiative hosted by the European Commission on the 4th of May. Due to restrictions to limit the spread of COVID-19, hundreds of millions of children are currently threatened by other deadly diseases such as measles. We must do our utmost to ensure that routine immunization can continue even during the pandemic. Sweden provides our strongest support to Gavi for building and supporting partner countries' system for immunization and providing basic vaccines for everyone. Ensuring equal access to future COVID-19 vaccines is a part of that promise. Sweden supports Gavi directly and through IFIM. We highly value IFIM as an instrument, and our agreement with IFIM will be subject to negotiations next year. For the period 2021 to 2025 and Gavi's coming strategy, the so-called Gavi 5.0, I'm happy to announce that Sweden pledges 34 million euros annually to Gavi. That is 1.75 billion Swedish crowns for the coming 5-year period. This is an increase by 16% of Sweden's support compared to the commitment made in Berlin 2015. We remain a committed partner to Gavi and its mission, and we want to see the alliance is given the necessary resources to continue its important work. Thank you.
We've known for a long time that vaccines are one of the most cost-effective ways to improve the general state of health. especially in developing countries. Just a small pinch with a needle and you are safe from harm. So easy and so functional, especially with partners like Gavi. You indeed created impressive results over the years. The COVID-19 crisis has disrupted our world in so many ways. Only a few months ago, we mainly worried about the distribution of the vaccines that we already have. Not anymore. This new global health crisis has made it clear that we need a concerted effort. We need that not only to develop a new vaccine, but also to produce, procure, and distribute it in a fair and well-coordinated manner, with equal access for all. It's also clear that we need to support stronger health systems to handle the crisis. We are only as strong as the weakest health system. No one is safe until all is safe. That's why I'm proud to announce a contribution of 50 million Danish kroner from Denmark to Gavi to fight COVID-19 in Africa. We can only overcome this challenge if we overcome it everywhere. If we join forces and show solidarity and remind each other of our commitment to leave no one behind. Thank you.
Dear friends of Gavi, the pandemic has an impact for all nations. Therefore, we must act together. All nations must be included in the solution. No one is safe until everyone is safe. The past few months have proved that we need sustainable solutions for health security preparedness. The World Health Assembly has made a commitment to create COVID-19 vaccine as a global public good to ensure the access to all nations in the world. Finland supports Gavi this year for the first time with 2.5 million euros, and we intend to continue our support next year. Global allocation of a vaccine must be fair, affordable, and transparent, regardless where it's been developed and financed. Finland fully supports the ACT Accelerator initiative to speed up research, development, and production. I would also like to thank the United Nations, the WHO, and the NGOs. Finland is really looking forward to become an active and committed partner of Gavi. Thank you so much.
Dear hosts, warm greetings from Portugal. I am delighted to join you on this occasion. Many thanks to the United Kingdom and to Gavi for co-hosting this summit. Ladies and gentlemen, Portugal fully supports Gavi, recognizing its role in the world and its intervention in Portuguese-speaking countries. Vaccines are one of the most successful and cost-effective health investments in history, with wider benefits that accumulate across a lifetime. More than 760 million children vaccinated through Gavi is an impressive figure. Immunization is an essential health service and a fundamental element for universal health coverage. The current pandemic reminded us of how crucial vaccines are. We also count on Gavi for the deployment of a future vaccine for COVID-19 so that it is accessible to all and can constitute a global public good for health. Portugal has been recently strengthening its relationship with Gavi and for the first time will financially contribute to the alliance. I am pleased to announce a pledge of 100,000 euros. I wish you all a very successful conference. Thank you so much.
I'm glad to participate in Gavi's Global Vaccine Summit 2020, aiming at maintaining immunization programs and at mitigating the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic in lower-income countries. Greece has managed successfully to tame COVID-19 virus and has started to return slowly but cautiously to normality. However, we will not gain our lives back until a vaccine has been discovered, nor will the whole humankind. Unfortunately, the outbreak of the pandemic highlighted the vulnerability of global health security when a vaccine is lacking. It is bitter truth that children and lower-income people, as well as countries, suffer more from the tremendous consequences of a pandemic. Gavi has been staunchly and systematically trying to secure availability, affordability, and accessibility of vaccines to all people. Greece, acknowledging this remarkable effort, allocates half of its pledge to the COVID-19 Donors Conference, namely 1.5 million euros, to Gavi in the hope that a vaccine against COVID-19 will soon be found. But let us not forget that this vaccine should be treated as a global public good. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for the generous pledges and the strong financial, political, and personal commitment to global immunization. Now, Gavi's success is not only dependent on donor support, but also on commitments by the vaccine industry itself. In the next video, we'll outline how the vaccine industry is working to ensure that girls in the poorest countries have access to the HPV vaccine against cervical cancer.
Most cervical cancer is HPV-related and preventable through timely HPV vaccination. We must partner to reduce the prevalence of this disease and strive for its elimination as called for by the WHO. This is a top priority for MSD. Despite the complexity of manufacturing at massive scale and to the highest standards of quality, we remain committed to dramatically increasing supply to Gavi through significant investments of capital and human resources. MSD is excited to announce that we'll continue to be a major supplier of HPV vaccines to Gavi, contributing to the vaccination of 84 million girls from 2021 through 2025.
We know that cervical cancer disproportionately impacts women in lower income countries, and that HPV vaccines offer a really important opportunity for adolescent girls to connect with their healthcare systems. We've been a long-time supplier to Gavi of Cervarix, that's our HPV vaccine, and we look forward to continuing to contribute to Gavi's objective of reaching another 84 million girls with HPV vaccination in the next 5 years. Thanks to our work as partners in the Alliance, more countries can now protect women and girls and safeguard their futures.
Today, the cervical cancer is one of the most frequent cancers in women everywhere, typically in less developed regions. Today, I take the privilege to share good news that Innovax HPV vaccine PQ dossier has formally been accepted for review by WHO. Innovax is going to the market. We are ready to supply significant volumes to Gavi's requirement in its next strategic period. It will enable continued rollout of the HPV vaccine and help protect more young girls.
The Gavi countries today have increased their demand substantially, and we're happy to announce, as the CEO of Serum Institute, that a new HPV-4 pre-qualified vaccine will be available in the first quarter of 2022 to the tune of around 50 million doses every year, scaled up to about 100 million doses by 2024. And we hope to make it even more affordable than it is today due to our partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and increasing our volumes to bring down the prices and cost.
大家好，非常感谢该位邀请。作为中国领先的疫苗生产商之一，秉承让人人生而健康主旨，沃森一直致力为全球中低收入国家持续供应高品质、可支付疫苗。沃森的2价 HPV 疫苗目前已进入中国上市申报阶段，预计2021年获批上市并申报 PQ。沃森承诺 ，PQ 后将会分配1半以上产能，以可支付的价格供应 Gavi， 全力支持能够惠及全球8400万9到14岁女性的 Gavi 5.0战略计划。谢谢。
In this active work between alliance partners, including the HPV vaccine manufacturers, Gavi now has the potential to increase its HPV vaccination reach from 50 million girls to 84 million in the next 5 years. This improved vaccine supply could avert 500,000 deaths around the world. And as we've just been hearing, Gavi's pharmaceutical partners are bringing vital vaccines like HPV to under-immunized populations. As part of its work over the next 5 years, Gavi will address inequities in immunization access to bring a portfolio of life-saving vaccines and other vital immunization and health services to and under-immunized communities around the world. Which brings us on to our next key topic. How do you reach children who are under-immunized or indeed have never been immunized? First, I would like to give the floor to Anuradha Gupta, Deputy CEO of Gavi in San Francisco.
Thanks, Jen. Equity has always been central to Gavi's mission, and today is just the right moment to celebrate the enormous impact that this unique alliance has had on making the world less unequal by expanding access to life-saving immunization. Since Gavi's inception, child deaths because of vaccine-preventable diseases have fallen by an astounding 70%. But there is more to do. Together, we can save the lives of at least 500,000 more children every year if we could only ensure that we leave no one behind with immunization. 20 million children born every year still remain deprived of the basic course of vaccines, with 2/3 not even receiving a single shot. These are zero-dose children, the symbol of unacceptable inequities and a North Star to communities that live on the margins and suffer from a host of compounded vulnerabilities, stigmatization, and gender disparities. They are also often the epicenters of disease outbreaks, many of which can spread rapidly, reminding us that no one is protected till everyone is protected. As COVID-19 further exacerbates these underlying inequities, there is no better time than now to act and recommit to bringing equity front and center of all our future endeavors and investments. It is my privilege to now invite our guests, representative from civil society, executive director of Unicef, and heads of states, to share with us how their personal leadership is helping drive progress towards our collective goal of leaving no one behind with immunization.
Thank you, Anuradha. Thanks to our work as an alliance, we are reaching more children with a wider range of vaccines than ever before. But millions are still missing out. Children living in conflict face special challenges in getting vaccinated. They often live in areas where health facilities and equipment are destroyed, where health workers can be targeted and killed. In fact, 2/3 of unimmunized children globally, over 8 million, live in countries that are fragile or affected by conflict. And now, as COVID-19 puts enormous pressures on health services, these numbers are only expected to increase. The message is clear. We need new approaches and tailored strategies to identify and reach unvaccinated children living in insecure and conflict-affected settings. First, we need to build stronger partnerships to deliver vaccines where they're needed most, and building trust with communities to address misinformation and rumors. Second, we need to scale up innovative solutions like solar-powered health facilities and effective cold chain to ensure that vital services like immunizations can continue. And third, we need stronger surveillance systems to identify unvaccinated children. And fourth, as we respond to COVID-19, we must also sustain vital health services like vaccinations. We cannot trade one health crisis for another. As we embark on Gavi's new 5-year strategy, Now is the time to recommit to building stronger health systems for the future and promoting resilience in some of the most fragile places on Earth. As an alliance, let's help those countries respond, recover, and reimagine a healthier and safer world for every child. Thank you.
Thank you, Anuradha. Let me respond by sharing with you quotes from mothers I've met in my work. So one mother says, "My husband does not allow me to vaccinate Hadia. It causes more diseases." Another one says, "I cannot go to the center alone. My husband works from early morning to evening." Another woman says, "I've never been to school. I don't understand the man who vaccinates children." So these are the barriers women face. The other three women says that the one who comes to vaccinate is a man. How can I go to him? Another woman says, "My husband never gives me money so that I don't go anywhere without his permission. So I don't have power for decision making, even for going out. I have to prepare food for a family of 30. I don't have time to go out for vaccination." Huge domestic burden. We, the civil society, come from within the community. We are the voices of people. We create evidence to make invisible to visible. We identify areas where concentration of zero-dose children is high. We work in hard-to-reach areas. We work in urban slums, areas which are not found often in the records of government, security-compromised areas, disaster-affected areas. When we go to these type of communities, when we talk to women and her family, we are able to convince them for vaccination. We help women to build their confidence, to participate in family decision-making. We talk to their husbands, we talk to their father-in-law, and we mobilize them to get their children vaccinated according to their convenience. We are an independent actor who extends support and services to our people and our government for a common good. Through this work, we help remove gender barriers to create a more balanced society and give right of protection to everyone that brings us closer to equity. I'm pleased to see that addressing gender barriers faced by health workers, caregivers, and adolescents will now be a focus for Gavi. Thank you.
Right Honorable Boris Johnson, Excellencies, distinguished participants, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for the invitation to join this August virtual summit. Distinguished participants, this summit is taking place at the time when the world is facing one of the most critical struggles for the existence of humanity due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The government of Mozambique recognizes that immunization is the best and safer investment for the health. Through its partnership with the Gavi, Mozambique has been able to significantly improve child health. We have seen an improvement coverage of immunization services for all that we have achieved together. I am delighted to applaud the indispensable work of the Gavi Alliance. Indeed, since its inception, Gavi has changed the way we have been acting against preventable diseases. Excellencies, distinguished participants, Mozambique has also been declared since 1990 endemic to cholera outbreaks, particularly in the northern provinces during the rain season. In our efforts to respond to cholera outbreaks, we have been implementing targeted vaccinations campaigns where Gavi and its partners have been playing a vital role by providing us with much-needed vaccine stockpiles, which helped the country to stop the spread of the disease. For instances, in 2019, following Cyclone Idai, we embarked on an emergency campaign to deliver oral cholera vaccine, OCV, to more than 1,600,000 people, mostly children. This has been possible thanks to the investment on data collection with the support of Gavi Alliance. We are so grateful. This lesson learning is that a coordinated effort is identifying and tracking the progression of cholera and other VPD outbreaks can facilitate planning for the right emergencies response.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is President Bio of Sierra Leone, and I want to share with you my experience as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Of course, you can remember that we've had Ebola in Sierra Leone before, and we have used quite a lot of our experience to bring to bear on the present situation. Once we learned about COVID-19 and that it was a matter of time before it would come to Sierra Leone, we stood up all the various structures that had been in existence for our Ebola experience. And once we had the index case on the 31st of March 2020, we decided to strengthen all of these structures and cascade them to the regions because we knew it would definitely go down to the regions. One thing I want to impress upon here is the fact that social mobilization in the absence of vaccine and medication is very important, and it should be owned by the people. You must get the people and everybody to be disciplined, to accept the message, to own it and to share it, and to make sure that we prevent the spread of coronavirus.
Well, let me say that I'm very pleased to participate in the Global Vaccine Summit, and I'm encouraged by the pledges that many of our international partners have made to Gavi today, which speaks to the solidarity that we all require during this trying moment of the COVID-19 pandemic. Indeed, it was with great pride that today I also pronounce that our partnership with Gavi over the last 20 years has contributed significantly to the improvement of the overall national health status in our country in several ways. Firstly, it has led to more than 50% reduction in under 5 mortality, from 111 per 1,000 births to 52 deaths per 1,000 live births, driven by success in immunization, as well as sustained investments in primary health care. Today, 90% of the children will have received at least 3 life-saving vaccines by the time they celebrate their first birthday. Over the last 2 years, through a joint investment of $20 million between my government and Gavi, we have equipped over 3,000 health facilities with specialized vaccine storage equipment, thus expanding the number of facilities offering immunization services from 65% to 90%. It is important, therefore, to note that the achievement of our universal health coverage program, which is a key priority for my administration, will depend a lot on our partnership with Gavi. That universal health coverage and immunization services both contribute to reduce health inequality, reduce poverty. It also helps us foster inclusion and, without doubt, is a catalyst to economic development. Global platforms such as this Gavi Summit need to support countries to extend this adaptability towards progressive self-reliance in vaccine production on the African continent. The last point is that as we begin to face the effects of economic contraction occasioned by COVID-19, we also appeal to Gavi to adjust its funding to this COVID-19 reality and support Kenya make a gradual and smooth transition out of the Gavi program.
We just heard perspectives from our distinguished guests on equity, inclusion, and zero-dose children who live in the shadow of conflict in urban slums, in remote rural areas. 2/3 of them live in extreme poverty in households which subsist on less than $2 per day. It is here that young girls and women, more often than not, suffer from low agency, translating into gender barriers to immunization. But leadership makes all the difference and can make even the most daunting goal attainable. The question is not whether we can afford to reach every child. The question is whether we can afford not to do so. And that is why Gavi, in its next 5 years, is committed to making equity as its key organizing principle to ensure that all children, regardless of their circumstances, get an equal chance to survive, thrive, and prosper in life with protection of vaccines.
Thank you very much, Anuradha. Now, we heard a few examples there about innovation, and innovation is core to Gavi's mission, whether it's financial or technological. And one important example of this is the International Finance Facility for Immunization, or IFIM. It's a financial instrument that accelerates funding through vaccine bonds. Now, with the help of the World Bank, IFIM harnesses the power of the financial sector alongside investors and capital markets. Let's hear now about IFIM's impact on Gavi.
For me, life is all about taking on a challenge. And the International Finance Facility for Immunization is all about providing and accelerating funding to Gavi to deliver vaccines in record time to children around the world. The idea is simple and yet revolutionary. It's all about harnessing the private sector's resources to address the world's social and environmental challenges. That is why IFIM was founded in 2006, making vaccine bonds available on the world's capital markets, freeing funds up immediately to help our partners deliver without having to wait for pledged donations to come in incrementally and over time. IFIM's first issuance, backed by 6 countries, was for $1 billion in the international capital markets. This issue allowed IFIM to seal its reputation as a pioneer in social bonds. With support from the World Bank, IFIM has issued vaccine bonds in the UK, Australia, and in the Eurobond markets. It has sold bonds to retail investors in Japan and to Islamic countries. We've developed really strong partnerships with banks and institutional investors all around the world.
We are working with IFIM to facilitate fast-track execution of immunization programs through issuing bonds in the capital markets. This financial innovation allows the financial markets to assist the community in addressing societal challenges.
IFIM funding has helped Gavi scale up pentavalent, polio, and measles programs, and it has helped Gavi to strengthen the health systems of lower-income countries. IFIM funding was also on hand to help Gavi to respond to the Ebola crisis of 2014. And now, working with Norway, IFIM has enabled surge financing for CEPI, the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, which is the forefront of developing a vaccine for COVID-19.
A threat that knows no borders can only be met by coming together across borders. Norway recently backed the issuance of vaccine bonds for CEPI. This way, Gavi and CEPI can leverage resources in a collective approach to making us all safer.
Together, we are ready and equipped to take on the most challenging global health crisis for more than 100 years. We thank all our donors for their leadership, for their continued long-term support, and for their vote of confidence in our work.
For all these reasons, we're incredibly grateful. Thank you very much.
So we've heard how the financial innovation here drives scalable change, but how does that work to support countries directly on the ground? And how can the private sector help support Gavi's mission through innovation? We're going to discuss this now, and I'm pleased to welcome back Dr. Ngozi, Gavi's board chair in Washington. And we're joined by Alan Jope, CEO of Unilever, Michael Froman, the President of Strategic Growth at MasterCard, and Nithya Ramanathan, CEO and co-founder of NextLeaf Analytics. But before our discussion begins, let's learn a bit more about Gavi's approach to innovation.
1 in 10 children still miss out on life-saving vaccines. We need a bigger and bolder strategy to reach them. This year alone, 1.5 million children will die from vaccine-preventable diseases. These deaths are avoidable, every single one. Despite challenges, there is hope and possibility. Here, and here, and here, in all of us. Gavi, alongside its alliance partners, drives innovation for bigger impact. We focus on needs in far corners of the globe. We partner with allies to amplify our impact. We adapt solutions for real-world challenges. And we scale innovations to reach communities that need them most. Thanks to Gavi's work, 760 million children have been immunized. 13 million lives have been saved, and we've just begun. There is no limit to what innovation makes possible. The more we focus, partner, adapt, and scale, the more positive change we create. Together, we transform our world, one human life at a time. Join us.
So some clear examples there showing how Gavi is harnessing innovation to ensure that children have access to vaccines. There were some complex challenges in that video, but one phrase we heard, where there are no limits to what is possible through innovation. Dr. Ngozi in Washington, can you tell us what innovation means for you in your mission?
Thank you, Jen. As you saw in the video, Gavi has been on the forefront of harnessing innovation to address real needs, using drones to deliver vaccines to remote areas, using big data approaches to overcome fragmented systems. And we've recognized the private sector as a critical source of innovation. In fact, Gavi has a long history of working with the private sector. I would like to acknowledge the La Caixa Foundation, Gavi's first private sector partner, who has been a trusted friend in the Gavi mission since 2000, contributing a total of 35 million euros to date. Thank you, Your Royal Highness Princess Christina of Spain, for your deep support for Gavi. We are now at a critical time in Gavi's history, where the challenges over the next 5 years will require even more ingenuity and innovation than before to ensure that we not only maintain the hard-fought gain over the last 20 years, but we push even more to achieve our goals. So I'm glad to be sharing the stage with some of our private sector partners who will support us over the next strategic period.
Thank you, Dr. Ngozi. Now, one of those partners is Unilever, and Alan Jope joins us. Alan, some people watching might wonder why a global consumer goods company is partnering with Gavi. Can you tell us about your collaboration, how that came about?
Thanks, Jen. Look, Gavi and Unilever have a shared aim to reduce mortality in children under the age of 5, and we have complementary skills and assets to do that. So Gavi has the know-how, the vaccines, and the reach, and Unilever has some deep capability in affecting behavior change around good hygiene generally and hand washing with soap specifically. And when you combine these, you have a powerful combination of two of the most simple and effective public health interventions. There's tons of potential to scale up. Hand washing with soap is for now the best defense against COVID-19, although we do hope that a vaccine soon takes that title. And I just want to thank the Dutch government for providing match funding over the last 3 years and the Indian government for their steadfast support.
Thank you, Alan. We'll move on to you, Michael, as the President of Strategic Growth for MasterCard. Can you tell us about your collaboration with Gavi?
Well, one thing that this COVID-19 crisis underscores is just how important it is to be connected
to the digital economy. And over the last few years, we at MasterCard have brought in 500 million individuals into the financial system. We've now doubled down to target 1 billion people into the digital economy. And not just about payments, but also about other life events, including vaccinations. So we're very pleased to partner with Gavi with our Wellness Pass, which takes our innovation, our technology, allows patients in a clinic to be registered using our patented and secure biometric technology. It digitizes the vaccination record and enables clinics then to reach out to patients to remind them when to come in for another vaccination. It provides data insights to ministries of health as to where their vaccination programs are working or perhaps not working. And crucially, it is fit for purpose. It works online and offline with people who have formal identities and people who have no foundational identities. And it's a great example of the private sector bringing innovation to the table and partnering with Gavi, who has all the reach and expertise in global health. We think it's very useful to keep children in Africa and elsewhere on the path towards getting vaccinated and potentially to be of use when there's a COVID-19 vaccine as well.
Thank you, Michael. And for a slightly different perspective from an organization that's engaging directly with managers on the ground, NextLeaf Analytics, Nithya, can you tell us about your work with Gavi?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. NextLeaf is a tech nonprofit focused on using data to answer important questions. And one resounding question is, how exactly do we close the gap and reach that final 20% of children, which could potentially grow by next year? Working with Gavi's Infuse program, we've deployed thousands of remote sensors in countries like Tanzania. These sensor devices capture real-time data on temperature. But it's not the sensor that's the story. It's what countries can do with that data to protect their vaccine potency. As innovators, whether we're a small tech company or a large company looking to support countries, we have to think beyond flashy devices and build tech that is a usable, powerful tool for governments. That's why we need to think about real ownership, not just handoff of the tech and the data by governments from the very beginning. And this is what NextLeaf and Gavi's Infuse program are about, working side by side with countries and supporting them as they innovate to overcome problems. The power of Gavi's approach is to tap into this future of technology and healthcare and scale what works.
Thank you so much, because it does sound like these partnerships are going to be critical to Gavi's success in the next 5 years, this ability to innovate. On that note, Alan, can you tell us about your next collaboration with Gavi?
Well, I'm delighted to announce today that Unilever is investing another €3 million to expand our immunization and Lifebuoy hand washing partnership. And really, I want to encourage other businesses to start collaborating with Gavi, not just with funding, but with the complementary skills and assets to partner with Gavi to amplify their remarkable and invaluable impact. So now's the time for partnerships across sectors and across companies. The pandemic has to mark a turning point for the world. COVID-19 is demonstrating how fragile and unsustainable our modern world has become. To halt the pandemic, governments need to set aside national interests and work together, along with scientists, civil society, and industry, to accelerate the development of the COVID-19 vaccines, and of course, as everyone is saying, to make them a global public good so that everybody has access.
Thank you very much, Alan. Nithya, I think you've got some news as well to share.
Yeah, we're excited to announce that Gavi and NextLeaf are expanding our partnership with the Ministry of Health in Tanzania, thanks to tremendous support from the Alma Vaccines and Immunization Foundation and the Gavi Matching Fund. Today, we're announcing a $3 million partnership to build the path for a fully digital, countrywide cold chain system in Tanzania. This will bring full transparency to the vaccine cold chain, including 5,000 health facilities, every vaccine distribution trip, and every truck everywhere in the country. Eventually, we can scale this data visibility to all Gavi countries to ensure that potent vaccines are available and reach every child. In these times, we have to think deeply and boldly, and we need to see systems change in how donors, organizations, and countries are working together. In this way, Alma and Gavi have shown to be wonderful partners, as well as leaders in catalytic investments in long-term innovation in the vaccine sector. We're excited for this growing partnership with Alma, Gavi, and the government of Tanzania, because it's paving the way for resilient health systems.
So some interesting developments there in Tanzania and elsewhere. Key technological role is coming into the innovation here. Michael, with MasterCard, how will you support the alliance in the future?
Well, in addition to the wellness paths, which I described, we've committed $25 million to help set up the COVID-19 Therapeutics Accelerator with the Gates Foundation and the Wellcome Trust. And there's a real focus there on equitable access, making sure that what comes out of this COVID-19 process is fit for purpose and available to all countries and including low resource health systems. In addition, we have added Gavi to our donations platform, and I'm pleased to announce that the UK government has agreed to match contributions up to £5 million generated by that donations platform. So we'll continue both to provide our technology, our innovation, but also do whatever we can to mobilize additional resources for Gavi as well.
Thank you, Michael. Dr. Ngozi, your final thoughts?
Wow, Jen, some fantastic announcements. And I'm pleased to also announce another one, breaking news. Firstly, Gavi and Facebook will partner to promote accurate information on vaccines and address misinformation on COVID-19. And secondly, Leado Global Health will contribute $10 million to Gavi in support of frontline health workers. This support comes at a critical time. So thank you, Facebook, and thank you, Leado. As you have seen, the contributions from the private sector have been amplified by the Gavi Matching Fund, a wonderful vehicle that matches dollar for dollar an investment from the private sector that fuels the innovations and solutions we need. And we are so grateful to our donors, Norway, the Netherlands, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the UK government for recommitting to the Matching Fund for 2021 to 2025. Now is an unprecedented moment in history, and we must all work together for the collective good. So I call on the corporate sector to come forward in our support. We need your resources and innovations to ensure that we can protect the next generation.
Thank you, Dr. Ngozi, and thank you, Alan, Michael, and Nithya for joining us at this historic summit. Now we will have a look at how other private sector companies are partnering with Gavi.
Gavi is collaborating with the private sector to push the boundaries of what we think is possible, harnessing its resources, innovation and expertise, and creating powerful partnerships. The Gavi Matching Fund was developed in 2011 to match donations and double private sector impact. Already, it has helped to mobilize $385 million from the private sector, helping Gavi develop innovative approaches to vaccinating the world's most vulnerable children. But we want to go much further. By 2025, we will generate a further $80 to $100 billion in economic benefits, reaching 300 million children and saving over 7 million lives. For Gavi's next strategic period, we want to thank the following donors who pledged $150 million to support the Gavi Matching Fund. And following this, we are pleased to announce that these partners are committing today over $70 million to support Gavi's mission. These valuable commitments allow us to prevent disease outbreaks, protect children from infectious disease, and make sure economies prosper. Our mission is ambitious. Our goals are bold. Together, we can achieve them and transform the world's most vulnerable places into thriving communities. Join us now.
Now, the barrier to immunization starts at the production line. To meet demand for vaccines, Gavi collaborates with manufacturers to ensure an adequate supply. We can now share several announcements from Gavi's partners.
Pfizer is fully committed to delivering breakthroughs that support Gavi disease priorities. We will complete WHO pre-qualification of our quadrivalent meningococcal conjugate vaccine and evaluate the introduction of a maternal respiratory syncytial virus vaccine. And we'll do this while ensuring we help sustain the gains achieved over the last decade, protecting children from pneumococcal disease through both our current and our next generation vaccines.
Sanofi Pasteur remains fully engaged in the reach of polio eradication through two core commitments. First, the expansion of our IPV capacity to support Gavi countries to introduce a second dose of IPV. Second, through innovation, by developing an IPV-containing hexavalent vaccine specifically designed for Gavi countries and middle-income countries.
We thank the governments and NGOs around the world for supporting Gavi and its exemplary works towards global public health. Bharat Biotech is reducing its typhoid conjugate vaccine from $1.50 to $1 per dose to better reach and vaccinate more children of the world. Thank you.
The timing of availability of this typhoid conjugate vaccine could never be better, because more and more countries and organizations across the world are seeing the need of this vaccine now more and more than ever before.
What's different about this disease is that it's concentrated in low and middle income countries and affects the most marginalized people in those societies.
We, EU Biologics, are delighted to make pledge that EU Biologics commit to double the production of OCB to address supply constraints and its contribution to ending cholera by 2030. In addition, EU Biologics commits to prioritize its supply of typhoid conjugate vaccine to be commercialized in 2022 to Gavi-eligible countries.
So we've come to the last of the pledging sessions, the Americas. And as you will soon notice, there's plenty of room for more donors in this group. So I've been told if you feel inspired, you're always welcome to join. But before we hear from Canada, we have an appeal from Zalwork Swed, President of Ethiopia. Madam President, the floor is yours.
Excellencies, Gavi officials, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Prime Minister Boris Johnson, for hosting this summit, which is even more important this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Our collective efforts to develop and deploy vaccines rapidly, which are accessible to all, is of paramount importance. As the largest African investment in the Gavi portfolio, support equivalent to more than $1.1 billion has been provided to Ethiopia to prevent the death of millions of children from infectious diseases. It has boosted our immunization coverage from 30% in 2000 to 72% today. Since 2018, 1.1 million girls have been spared from the scourge of cervical cancer due to the introduction of the HPV vaccine. However, school closures have postponed second doses of this vaccine. In order to strengthen our health systems, we have applied for $300 million to Gavi support for systematic disease prevention against epidemics. In Ethiopia, we have reduced the number of unimmunized children by 50% since 2000, while more needs to be done to reach more than 1 million children who are not receiving vaccines. Today, Ethiopia commits to the following. We will work to ensure equity and quality in providing access to health services to all. We commit to driving up the coverage across the country of DTP-containing vaccine to 90%. Despite the current demands of Ethiopia's COVID-19 response, we are committed to the continuation of essential health services, especially immunization activities. Ensuring sustainable immunization financing is critical. Therefore, every year, we have increased the government expenditure for health, with immunizations exceeding 40% of the total health budget. Over Gavi's next strategic period, our government will continue to meet our co-financing obligation. Today is our collective opportunity to ensure Gavi's and WHO's impact around the world is not only renewed, but intensifies at a time when it is most needed. A fully funded Gavi will help prevent 300 million lives from diseases and death. Thus, I call upon all donors to protect our shared health security by supporting global emergency stockpiles of vaccines, which will save lives and help economies prosper. I thank you.
Thank you, President. We can now hear the response to your call from the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau.
Hello, everyone. Bonjour à tous. To begin, I'd like to thank Prime Minister Johnson for bringing us together today and for his leadership in making sure we're pulling our resources together to keep people safe and healthy. We know that vaccines and routine immunizations save millions of lives each year. Since its creation, Gavi has helped to immunize more than 760 million children and has prevented more than 13 million deaths. Vaccines work, and 86% of the world's children have been reached by routine immunization. And in the midst of a global pandemic, it has never been more important to build capacity to respond to disease outbreaks and work with organizations to develop and deliver vaccines. Plus tôt ce mois-ci, le Canada s'est engagé à investir 600 millions de dollars à la troisième reconstitution des ressources de Gavi, l'Alliance du vaccin. On s'est aussi engagé à accorder 47,5 millions de dollars par année pendant 4 ans pour soutenir la stratégie de clôture de l'Initiative mondiale pour l'éradication de la poliomyélite. Et je suis encouragé de voir un si grand nombre d'entre vous annoncer une contribution. As a global community, we must work together to make sure that people around the world have access to vaccinations, especially the most vulnerable. This initiative is living proof that global cooperation can achieve real and lasting results that benefit us all. COVID-19 has demonstrated that diseases know no borders, so it should come as no shock to anyone that the health of our citizens depends on the health of everyone, everywhere. But together, we can and we will build a more resilient world.
So we're almost at the 3-hour point of our program, and up till now we've heard from almost all of Gavi's stakeholders, recipients and donors, civil society and the private sector. We've been talking mostly about equal access to routine immunization, but now we will hear about the current crisis and how it's impacting the world. First, we hear from Kate Bingham, chair of the UK Vaccine Task Force.
Thank you for joining this session on COVID vaccines. Finding vaccines to protect the global population is now an urgent priority. This is an unprecedented challenge. Previous attempts to find vaccines against coronavirus have all failed. I lead the UK's dedicated Vaccine Task Force. We're providing industry and research institutions with the resources and support that they need to help develop a vaccine. But most new vaccines will fail. So we need to build a broad and diverse vaccine portfolio, trying many promising but unproven approaches. The UK is leveraging its outstanding scientific and clinical expertise. 2 of the most advanced vaccine candidates have been developed by the Universities of Oxford and Imperial College. We are also funding the underlying science and the manufacture of these complex vaccines at risk, including in partnership with AstraZeneca, so that we have many millions of doses ready to use should they prove successful. I've worked in the biotech sector for 30 years, and I know the challenges that developers will face in this environment. This is not a task for any one nation. The UK is committed to working with international partners and industry to accelerate investment in research, manufacturing and delivery, pooling resources and sharing the costs. I look forward to working with you to deliver the global response COVID requires of us all.
Thanks very much, Kate. And I'm pleased now to introduce some very distinguished guests, starting with His Majesty King Abdullah of Jordan.
Thank you, my friend. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear friends, let me start by thanking the UK and Prime Minister Johnson for organizing this summit. From the beginning of this pandemic, Jordan has been calling for equal access to medication and vaccination. It is growing ever clearer that we cannot afford to leave any country behind. Guaranteeing equal access is not only the moral and just approach, it is also in the interest of the entire international community to re-establish the global mobility needed by all economies. This is why a better global integration is the way forward. A re-globalization that builds on all our strengths and resources for the benefit of all. Policymakers and companies should plan for large-scale manufacturing and distribution to ensure we move towards global immunization. Jordan is ready to utilize its experienced pharmaceutical sector regionally to help mass produce the vaccine once available. With an accumulated investment volume of nearly $1.8 billion, our pharmaceutical sector has the potential to ramp up its R&D capacity with international support for the benefit of our entire region. It is our responsibility as an international community to make sure the most vulnerable are not left behind. And in my region, many are internally displaced or live as refugees. Jordan alone hosts 1.3 million Syrian refugees and others. It is a priority for us to afford them the same care we give Jordanians. But this would not be possible without the support of our friends. Jordan had to take tough measures to deal with COVID-19, but our swift action enabled us to control its spread. And we are ready to offer our expertise where needed. And we appreciate our friends for being there when we needed them. We hope this international collaboration continues to address the economic and humanitarian repercussions of COVID-19. Only together will we be able to chart the path forward. Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيد بوريس جونسون رئيس وزراء المملكة المتحدة، السيدات والسادة رؤساء الدول والحكومات، في البداية أتقدم بكل الشكر والتقدير للمملكة المتحدة على مبادرتها بالدعوة لهذه القمة المهمة، والتي تأتي في توقيت حيوي في ظل انتشار وباء فيروس كورونا، والذي أثبت حاجة العالم إلى التضامن والعمل بسرعة للحد من انتشار المرض والبحث عن تطعيمات فعالة على أن تتوافر للجميع بشكل عادل، خاصة وأن حماية البشر من هذه الأوبئة هي مسؤولية العالم أجمع. كما يتعين ألا ندع جائحة كورونا تفقدنا الاهتمام بباقي الأمراض المعدية التي سعى العالم مسبقا للحيلولة دون انتشارها، مع أهمية العمل على بذل جهود مشتركة لتقديم اللقاحات الروتينية واستئناف حملات التحصين ضد الأمراض الفتاكة التي يمكن منعها باللقاحات. السيدات والسادة، تتابع مصر التجارب الجارية للتوصل إلى لقاح لفيروس كورونا والتعاون العلمي في هذا الصدد من خلال جهات البحث المصرية، كما حرصنا منذ بداية الأزمة على تقديم يد المساعدة لبعض دول العالم الصديقة للتخفيف من تداعيات الجائحة كترجمة للتضامن العالمي. وختاما، فإن مصر على استعداد لنقل تجربتها في تطبيق برامج التطعيمات الإجبارية والتي ساهمت في الحد من أمراض ووفيات الأطفال، كما أننا مستعدون للمساهمة في أبحاث وتصنيع اللقاحات وتدريب الكوادر الطبية وإجراء التجارب السريرية الإكلينيكية للقاحات والتحصينات الجديدة. وشكرا.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson, colleagues, thank you for inviting me to this summit. The COVID-19 pandemic demands a unified and concerted response by all nations. One key area of cooperation is developing and producing a vaccine against COVID-19. Singapore welcomes this global call for action. We are doing our part. We have contributed about $13 million towards international efforts to combat COVID-19 through the WHO the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, or CEPI, and donations of essential medical equipment and supplies. We are investing heavily in research and development on diagnostics, vaccines, and therapeutics. Our researchers have developed a range of serological and nucleic acid-based diagnostic tests, which have been deployed to over 20 countries. They are also developing therapeutic monoclonal antibodies as well as a vaccine, and have started clinical trials of various therapeutics. In parallel, we are building up our vaccine manufacturing capacity. We intend to offer fill and finish contract manufacturing services to vaccine developers. This should help them ramp up production faster and assure them high standards of safety and quality in the manufacturing process. Discovering, producing, and distributing a safe and effective vaccine is vital to getting life back to normal despite COVID-19. I hope that this summit will help focus our minds and resources and forge partnerships to promote vaccine multilateralism. I wish everyone a successful summit. Thank you.
The Right Honourable Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great honour to participate in this virtual Global Vaccine Summit hosted by the UK government under the leadership of His Excellency Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Gavi is an inspirational partnership between a coalition of governments, international agencies, and public-private actors to vaccinate against the disease and death. Somalia is proud to be part of this vaccine alliance for healthier, safer, and equitable societies and sustainable development for the most vulnerable on our planet. Prevention is always better than a cure, and vaccinating against preventable diseases and strengthening the health of citizens everywhere is a basic human right. Indeed, as we say in Somalia, health is wealth. More than that, it's also good politics, smart economics, and the path to a resilient, confident, and prosperous future for all. COVID-19 has truly tested the world in every which way possible. The coronavirus pandemic has taught us the importance of preparation, collaboration, and timely common actions to protect our citizens' future. I welcome and strongly support the Vaccine Alliance's focus on accelerating a vaccine for COVID-19, and I urge that this to be made available, especially for those who are vulnerable. Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, is truly an inspirational partnership of which we must all be proud of and contribute to supporting in every way we can. I thank you.
The urgent need for a COVID vaccine demands genuine global cooperation. And at the end of April, the global community launched the Access to COVID-19 Tools, also known as the ACT Accelerator. The Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, or CEPI, and Gavi are co-leading on the vaccine task force of the ACT Accelerator. I will now leave the floor to Dr. Richard Hatchett, CEO of CEPI, followed by Dr. Seth Berkley, CEO of Gavi.
Thank you, Jen. I am so pleased to join you all on this important day. Vaccines, as you all know, are a critical tool in the fight against communicable diseases, and it is vital that they be shared equitably. This is the principle upon which CEPI and Gavi were founded. With COVID-19, we now see what happens when the world faces a pandemic without a vaccine. CEPI was established to support and accelerate the development of vaccines against emerging infectious diseases and to ensure that they are distributed equitably during outbreaks. The ACT Accelerator was created to facilitate collaboration, unprecedented collaboration in the struggle against COVID-19. With our respective and complementary strengths, CEPI and Gavi or as to lead the vaccines pillar under the ACT Accelerator. Our mission is to develop and deliver vaccines at scale to save lives, restore economic activity, and end this pandemic as soon as possible. CEPI's role within the vaccines pillar is to lead on the development and manufacturing of COVID-19 vaccines. We are working with innovative companies from around the world to speed vaccine development. And we are working closely with Gavi to put in place mechanisms such as the COVID-19 vaccines advanced market commitment to ensure that vaccines are manufactured at scale and distributed equitably. Gavi has been an absolutely terrific partner in this endeavor, and I am sure that together we will develop solutions as big and bold as the COVID-19 pandemic requires that will serve everyone, everywhere. Thank you again for your support, and with that, I'll turn this over to Seth.
Since its creation 20 years ago,
Thank you, Jen and Richard. As Richard noted, COVID-19 is a truly global problem requiring a global solution. The ACT Accelerator was launched by WHO and the EC President Ursula von der Leyen based on the recognition that as long as COVID-19 threatens any country, the entire world is at risk. The EC in May then hosted a momentous pledging event to drive attention and resources to the new global collaboration. Gavi immediately responded to these urgent calls for engagement under the ACT Accelerator and is working closely with CEPI to lead the vaccine effort, as Richard has shared. We need a range of tools, but without a vaccine, we will never fully defeat COVID-19. We need to devise and deliver a vaccine program to ultimately get billions of doses out at a speed and scale never before contemplated, let alone achieved. There is no scenario in which the aggregate supply of safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines over the next 18 months will exceed potential demand. There are scenarios, however, in which it may be possible to use vaccine in a targeted way to end the acute phase of the pandemic by the end of 2021. Accomplishing this goal will be essential to restoring anything remotely resembling normal economic activity and should be the highest priority of all countries. With this, I would like to announce the launch of the COVID-19 Global Vaccine Access Facility, or COVAX facility as we're calling it. The objective of the COVID-19 Vaccine Global Access Facility is to accelerate equitable access to appropriate, safe, and efficacious COVID-19 vaccines globally. This means all countries who wish to participate are encouraged to do so by making a commitment to purchase doses and a contribution to the facility. Participating countries will receive access to a portfolio of vaccines procured by the facility and based upon an allocation framework and at a negotiated price. This is true, too, for higher income countries who will use domestic finance to contribute funds to the advance purchase guarantees, as well as to purchase vaccines side by side with Gavi-supported countries who will use ODA resources. Even countries who have already done bilateral deals with a company will be able to mitigate the risk of not backing a winning vaccine by joining the facility, which will then back a portfolio of vaccines, increasing the likelihood of success when they get their fair share alongside all other countries. The specific technical details of this are being discussed over the next few weeks, and we're looking forward to our next galvanizing moment for the COVAX facility on June 27th in partnership with the EC and Global Citizen. Manufacturers seeking volume guarantees to scale production and understanding the risk of just serving a few countries when there is a global pandemic already want to work with the facility, and discussions with multiple suppliers are underway. We are leveraging Gavi's track record in working with the world's vaccine manufacturers and other industry stakeholders to help create the right conditions that enable production at the necessary volumes to meet the demand. The Alliance's 20 years of experience in introducing nearly 500 vaccines into some of the most challenging environments on Earth will help us work with countries to assure swift delivery. I'm now handing it over to Dr. Ngozi, Gavi's board chair and the WHO Special Envoy for the ACT Accelerator, who will share more on the innovative financing mechanism for lower-income countries.
Today, Gavi is rising to the challenge again, this time against COVID-19. I'm tremendously delighted to announce Gavi's launch of a new financing instrument, the Gavi COVAX Advanced Market Commitment, or AMC, for lower-income countries, is the first of several potential building blocks of the COVAX access facility that Seth just mentioned. It grounds as much in Gavi's 2 decades-long experience in accelerating the availability of billions of doses of vaccines as it does in Gavi's mission to ensure equitable access to safe quality vaccines, ensuring no one is left behind. This new instrument builds on the success of the first advanced market commitment for pneumococcal conjugate vaccines, PCV, which prevent the leading cause of pneumonia. In the 11 years since the AMC's launch, it has helped protect more than 225 million children across 60 low and lower middle income countries, saving more than 700,000 lives. The PCV AMC allowed the acceleration of the vaccine production, making it the first vaccine to reach Gavi countries at the same time as developed countries. Strong from this experience, I'm pleased to announce today the Gavi COVAX AMC with the current PCV AMC donors, Italy, Canada, UK, Norway, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, who will be among the first sponsors of the new COVAX AMC. We are calling for an initial seed money of $2 billion to start with today, and we'll come back with detailed costing on the vaccine development and production later in June. I'm pleased that the founders of the PCV AMC have agreed to roll over $177.5 million into the new AMC. The Gavi COVAX AMC will use ODA funds to incentivize manufacturers to ensure sufficient global capacity is installed through guarantees, and subsequently procure vaccines for low-income countries and lower middle-income countries. This new mechanism will provide the needed guarantees to the manufacturers and pool the demand to incentivize the required investments in order to ensure the volume availability and equitable access of COVAX. The race for a vaccine against COVID-19 is in full swing. I'm incredibly inspired by the energy deployed to design and launch this initiative in a few weeks. It takes its momentum from the incredible amount of dedication of the health workers, communities, governments, and partners in facing the tidal wave of the pandemic. It is an honor now for me to introduce President Kagame of Rwanda, who is one of those leaders engaged in the battle against COVID-19. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Since its creation 20 years ago, Gavi has had a tremendous impact on global health, including in Rwanda. In partnership with Gavi, Rwanda has achieved 95% coverage for the most common vaccine-preventable diseases. As a result, child mortality has continued to fall. Today, COVID-19 puts the entire world at risk. A safe and effective vaccine would end the pandemic. But achieving universal vaccine coverage will require unprecedented innovation in both scientific and manufacturing capacity. What is certain is that the Gavi Alliance has a critical role to play in helping to ensure that billions of doses of a future vaccine will be available on an equitable basis. That is the logic behind the advance market commitment for COVID-19 vaccines being launched today. This is a win-win strategy for all stakeholders, which has already proven effective for pneumococcal vaccines, saving hundreds of thousands of lives. I join other leaders from government, business, science, and philanthropy in urging wide support for this initiative. Strong support for Gavi's replenishment is also essential. We cannot allow COVID to do double damage by slowing our response to the preventable diseases that cost countless lives each year. Prevent, protect, prosper, with equal access for all. That is our common mission. I thank you.
And thank you, President Kagame, for joining us from Kigali. I will now give the floor to Mikhail Murashko, Minister of Health from Russia.
Distinguished Chair, dear colleagues, we would like to thank British Prime Minister Boris Johnson for hosting the Vaccine Summit. The COVID-19 pandemic has retarded the implementation of the immunization campaigns. A number of developing countries have already faced an increase of cases of vaccine-preventable infection. In present, the Russian Federation consistently keeps high level of the routine vaccination, providing as before 96% of vaccination for newborns and children. The Russian Federation financially and methodologically supports countries suffering from difficulties with vaccination campaigns, as well as developing cooperation with a number of key international organizations. Our country is one of the world's largest providers of yellow fever vaccine and covers up to 60% of global demand. We welcome the joint undertaking by the UK and Gavi. We are confident that with a leading overall WHO of the work of Gavi will make a significant contribution to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Thank you, Minister. Now, the World Bank is a key partner in developing the innovative financial instruments we've been hearing about. We can go now to the Managing Director at the World Bank, Mary Pangestu. Welcome. You have the floor.
Excellencies and distinguished panelists, I'm delighted to be here to express the World Bank's support for Gavi and its mission to expand access to life-saving vaccines for all living in the world's poorest countries, a mission that remains critical during these unprecedented times. I would also like to thank the United Kingdom for its leadership in this agenda. The humanitarian toll of COVID-19 is severe. Beyond the health crisis, we will see 60 million people pushed into extreme poverty in 2020, and millions more of the existing poor will experience even deeper deprivation, the first increase in global poverty since 1998. That is a very sobering fact. How long the effects last will depend on our ability to protect people's health, education, and skills. And a COVID-19 vaccine is an essential part of this effort. The COVID-19 Vaccine Advanced Market Commitment Facility, or COVAX AMC, is critical for securing the upfront investment to deliver the vaccine at an unprecedented scale and speed once a COVID-19 vaccine is available. We speak from experience. The pneumococcal vaccine AMC provides a proof of concept. The World Bank's financial backstopping of long-term donor commitments combined with financial management services allowed us to leapfrog a decade or more in the delivery of the vaccine, reaching millions of children in the poorest countries with a life-saving vaccine. Fair and equitable access to vaccines for all, especially the poor and vulnerable, is essential to altering the course of this devastating pandemic and allowing livelihoods and entire economies to be rebuilt. That is why the World Bank is committed to working with Gavi on the COVAX AMC and to ensuring that no one is left behind. Thank you.
Thank you Thank you very much, Ms. Pengestu, joining us there. Our next guest is the CEO of AstraZeneca, Pascal Soriot. Pascal, over to you.
Thank you, Jen. Vaccines are difficult to develop and manufacture at scale, and success is actually never guaranteed, as we know. But global collaboration between public and private organizations gives us a chance to combat this devastating virus. Every second counts, and seamless collaboration and total focus are critical if we want to deliver safe and effective vaccines to people around the world. The ACT accelerator launch is really a significant moment. It provides a unique mechanism to enable this important equitable access and a fair allocation. It has enabled our company AstraZeneca to join forces with SafePi and Gavi with a shared goal to provide affordable and equitable access to the promising vaccine discovered by the Oxford University's Jenner Institute, one of the best vaccines group in the world. And thanks to this collaboration, we are now starting today the manufacturing at risk of 300 million doses, which we've agreed to contribute to the accelerator, with deliveries starting later this year, and we will do this at no profit. This vaccine candidate is a fantastic example of what British life sciences can deliver. And we are very grateful to the Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, and the UK government for their support in accelerating the development of this vaccine. In addition, through the partnership with the Serum Institute of India, which we announced today, this vaccine will reach hundreds of millions of people in low and middle income countries. These announcements we make today increase our manufacturing capacity to a total of 2 billion doses. Our goal is to leave nobody behind, and I hope many other parties will join the effort to eliminate this devastating disease. Thank you.
Pascal, for taking us through those encouraging developments. We are now going to hear from Sai Prasad, the President of the Development Countries Vaccine Manufacturers Network. Mr. Prasad, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jen. Gavi, the Vaccines Alliance, is now 20 years old. It has prevented millions of deaths and reduced child mortality, and most importantly, global health, security, and sustainability. In the face of the current pandemic, the Gavi Alliance is well placed to lead the charge in ensuring availability of COVID-19 vaccines for Gavi-eligible countries and high-risk populations worldwide. The COVID-19 AMC is an early example of the progressive and the decisive action by Gavi to tackle this pandemic. Our constituency, DCVMN, supports the COVID-19 AMC and calls for equal participation of innovators and manufacturers. With expertise in supplying more than 3.5 billion doses to 170 countries for routine immunization, DCVMN members are reliable partners, ready and available to support Gavi Alliance in its response to COVID-19. The DCVMN constituency's response to COVID-19 has been rapid and comprehensive. Our member companies are on the forefront of vaccinology. They're enabling capabilities for high-quality, large-scale manufacturing that is aimed at global products, local manufacturing, and to leave no one behind. Thank you. Namaskar.
Developing Countries Vaccine Manufacturers Network. Now we have the Director General of the International Federation of Pharmaceutical Manufacturers and Associations, Thomas Quaney. You're very welcome. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jen. Listening to summit speakers all afternoon, it struck me that never before has there been so much hope placed by so many people in finding safe and effective vaccines. IFPMA's members have worked for 20 years with Gavi to stem the ravages of infectious diseases. Now they are working at unparalleled speed to develop vaccines and scale up manufacturing capacity and distribution networks to deploy a COVID vaccine in record time. We are proud to be founding partner of the Gavi Alliance and the Vaccines Accelerator, and we are fully committed to its goal to accelerate development, production, and equitable access to safe, effective, and affordable COVID-19 vaccines. Be assured, we will deliver on our shared vision to leave no one behind, and we will win the battle against COVID-19 together.
Mr. Quainey. Now we go to Italy, where we'll hear from Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte.
Dear colleagues, dear friends, the coronavirus has dramatically recalled us how important immunization is to prevent pandemics. It has also demonstrated that investments in global health and vaccines are key not only to save lives, to protect the most vulnerable, but also to preserve global security, stability, prosperity. Over the last 20 years, Gavi has represented the bedrock of global immunization, having allowed generations of children to grow healthy. It has also contributed to build more resilient national health systems. Thanks to its model of public-private cooperation, Gavi is one of our most impactful global development partnerships. It has been an essential player to achieve universal health coverage, global health security, sustainable development, and well-being for all. Gavi has also pioneered innovative financing instruments to quickly develop and distribute new vaccines at low prices, such as the International Finance Facility for Immunization and the Advanced Market Commitment, of which Italy has been a promoter and one of the largest donors. As we continue to rally for the global health response to COVID-19, Italy, as one of the co-leaders of the international alliance within the ACT Accelerator, strongly supports the emerging COVAX facility and is ready to contribute to the Gavi COVID-19 AMC. Therefore, we have agreed in partnership with other regional donors of the AMC pilot to repurpose the final Italian balance of almost $80 million to fund the new COVID-19 AMC. Dear friends, in recognition of the result achieved by Gavi so far, I am proud to announce the following further pledges from Italy. First, as I recently anticipated, Italy will make an additional direct contribution of 120 million euros for the next 5 years, a 20% increase compared to our previous support. And second, acknowledging the fundamental role played by IFI, we have decided to extend our contribution to the facility until 2030 with a new pledge of 150 million euros for a total amount of 287.5 million euros. These contributions are a concrete signal of our willingness to continue to invest in effective multilateralism and international cooperation and solidarity. We intend to put these values at the core of our G20 presidency in 2021. This is our solidarity in action. Altogether, we will achieve our goals. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Conte, joining us from Rome. Now, Dr. Ngozi, we've heard many different voices in that last about 20 minutes. What do you think about what we've been hearing?
Jan, I'm really, really excited. I'm excited for the world. I'm excited for Gavi. And the developments we've heard and the pledges to support the new MC are incredible. I just want to thank everyone and every leader, every head of state, everyone who has contributed. You can see, I don't know what to say, but just know that your contributions are so well appreciated. Thank you so much, Prime Minister Conte, for Italy's leadership in this fight against COVID. Not just supporting us, but supporting IFIM and also the new COVID AMC. Now, Jen, I have the great pleasure of introducing someone whom I'm sure everybody has been waiting and saying, where is he? Because he's known as the father of Gavi. He was there at the founding. And it's no other than the one and only Bill Gates, co-chair of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Hello. It's great to be with you all today, although virtually. I want to thank the United Kingdom and Prime Minister Boris Johnson for hosting this summit and for their generosity. They've been one of the world's leading contributors to global health and development, including immunization programs, and have supported Gavi generously from the beginning. I think it's safe to say this is not the kind of replenishment event we envisioned just early this year. It's more remote, but it's also more important. We're meeting at a unique time in history. Never have more people been more aware of the importance of vaccines. As we race to develop a COVID-19 vaccine, we must also renew our commitment to delivering every life-saving vaccine there is to every child on Earth. That is the work that Gavi and alliance partners have been doing for 20 years. And when we come together as a global community to support Gavi replenishment, we're making sure that it can continue to do these things until no child dies from a vaccine-preventable disease. Since its inception, Gavi has helped vaccinate more than 750 million children. It's incentivized researchers to develop vaccines for neglected diseases. It's made new vaccines widely available many years before they would have been available without Gavi. And now it's stepping up and saying it's willing to deliver a COVID-19 vaccine as soon as one is available to end the pandemic as soon as possible. If we didn't already have Gavi, we would have to create it just to solve this crisis. Gavi will also stay focused on the core work while learning how to address COVID-19. It can't let one task slip while it concentrates on the other, because lives and children's futures are at stake in both cases. Our foundation is proud to have been a member of the Gavi Alliance from the beginning. It's the largest single investment we make and one of the best we have ever made. We appreciate the incredible work of Gavi now more than ever. Today, our foundation is pledging $1.6 billion to help Gavi continue its amazing work for the next 5 years. In addition, the foundation is proud to support the new COVID-19 vaccine advanced market commitment with a $100 million contribution to help make sure that when a COVID-19 vaccine is discovered, everyone who needs it can have access, starting with healthcare workers and other high-risk populations. I hope others will consider similar commitments in the coming weeks, including at the upcoming Global Goal Unite for Our Future event on June 27. To all those who pledged, thank you for your generosity. Thank you for making sure Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, has what it needs and that billions of people can get the great health and opportunities they deserve.
Thank you, Mr. Gates, for joining us at this critical time and for your very generous pledge, which brings us to the end of our event, almost. I'm sure that I'm not the only one who's very keen to find out if we've reached the goal today. And joining me now to give his keynote address, we're going to return to London, where the Right Honourable Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, has the final numbers. Prime Minister, over to you.
Well, I do indeed, and thank you very much, everybody. As we bring this summit to a conclusion, let me just thank you all for your fantastic generosity and your contributions today. Together, we have replenished this alliance, and here comes the number that you've been waiting for. We have secured a fantastic. I get the scoop. I'm able to reveal it. I'm proud to say we have secured a fantastic $8.8 billion for Gavi's vital work over the next 5 years. So take a bow, everybody. Thank you very, very much. I want to say a particular thanks, obviously, to you, to Bill, and to Melinda Gates for your generosity, your philanthropy yet again, your continued leadership in humanity's battle against disease. Our ancestors had to live with the unavoidable reality that killer pathogens could, at any time, strike down their children, imposing an incalculable burden of sorrow. But today, thanks to the ingenuity of Edward Jenner, a British doctor originally from Gloucestershire, who pioneered the world's first vaccine, the simple act of inoculating our children can save lives many times over. Vaccines work. People who are vaccinated protect themselves and the rest of the population by lowering the spread and risk of infection. Gavi's work on routine immunization is the strongest shield against outbreaks of infectious diseases. And so it is today that our collective efforts at this summit will now save up to 8 million lives. Our actions, your actions, will also support healthcare systems in the world's poorest countries, which are increasingly victims of coronavirus. So today, we make the choice to unite, to forge a path of global cooperation, and let us also renew our collective resolve to find that vaccine that can, in the end, who knows how soon it'll come, let's hope it comes as soon as possible, that in the end can defeat coronavirus. And for our part, as you may know, the UK has already committed up to £764 million for the global coronavirus response. And I'm proud to say that some of the most promising research into vaccines is happening right here in the UK, supported by our vaccines task force. We are pioneering innovative collaborations that will be needed to manufacture and distribute a vaccine once we've found it, like the partnership between AstraZeneca and the University of Oxford. Just as we have, I've been trying to think of the right analogy, but just as we have great military alliances like NATO, where countries collaborate on building their collective military defense. I apologize, all those who aren't necessarily members of NATO, I hope you'll nonetheless see my point. We now need the same spirit of collaboration and collective defense against the common enemy of disease. It will require a new international effort to cooperate on the surveillance and the sharing of information, data. Data is king, that can underpin a global alert system so we can rapidly identify any future outbreak. And it will need a radical scaling up of our global capacity to respond, exactly as Bill set out 5 years ago. So just as Britain has been honored to host this summit today, you can count on our full contribution as together we rise to fulfill the greatest shared endeavor of our lifetimes, the triumph of humanity over disease, now and for the generations that follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you everyone around the world for the very generous support today. The goal has been achieved and surpassed. It's been an immense pleasure for me to guide you through today's event. Thank you very much for your patience when we had a few technical hiccups during the program and for your engagement throughout. We're going to show you now an image that we've taken during the event. This is showing all of the speakers that we had during the event, our family here. And now to give the closing remarks, I will hand back to Dr. Ngozi in Washington. Dr. Ngozi.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends, as we approach the close of our summit, I confess to being excited, overwhelmed by what we've collectively achieved today. A virtual event means that we're here together but apart. A fitting parallel to the Gavi family, diverse and distributed, but a single unit working tirelessly towards a common goal. To remove the obstacles faced by 10 million children who are still barred from accessing life-saving vaccines every year. We called for action, and every single one of you here today responded. It's a remarkable display of international collaboration that we're here and that without you, Gavi could not have achieved the results we've seen since our inception 20 years ago. Let me repeat, 760 million children immunized, 13 million lives saved, countless more lives improved. But this is no time to lose momentum as we face one of the largest threats to global health security in our existence. The world is recognizing what we have been saying all along: vaccines work. Today, we celebrate the launch of an advanced market commitment for a future COVID-19 vaccine, which will catalyze our ongoing efforts to support partners in developing a safe and effective vaccine, and Gavi countries in defending their health systems and routine immunization services. I wish to say thank you with all my heart to you, our donors. Your support is one of the many ways you prove your commitment to Gavi's mission to save lives, and we would not be here without you. Thank you especially to the UK and to Prime Minister Boris Johnson for hosting such a successful event and for your continued commitment as Gavi's largest donor. Thank you as well to our new donors: Bhutan, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Finland, Greece, New Zealand, Portugal, and Uganda for their pledges. As a Nigerian, I'm particularly proud to see new donors to Gavi from the African continent. Thank you to our developing country partners, many of whom have been represented here by their presidents, prime ministers, and other leaders. Your devotion to the health of your children, the financial and other contributions you make, have lifted our partnership to new heights and shown your commitment. As someone from the developing world, I honor and acknowledge you. To our private sector partners who continue to outstand us with new and divergent ways of thinking and doing, which blaze the trail for us to close the inequity gap, I thank you. To our champions who have so entirely committed to our vision and trebled the volume of Gavi's voice so that it is heard across the globe. To our partners and civil society colleagues who fight ceaselessly for every child's right to a healthy start in life, it is my honor to be able to tell you all that, as Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, we have raised $8.8 billion, far surpassing our goal of $7.4 billion. And with these funds, Gavi will continue ensuring that the world against fatal outbreaks by shielding a further 300 million children against infectious diseases. We are there to prevent, to protect, and to prosper. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
In 20 years, we've come a long way. 760 million children immunized and 30 million deaths prevented. Today, we are ready for our toughest challenge yet.
Vaccinated children have a much better chance of finishing their education and fulfilling their potential in life.
Thanks to you, we will deliver over 3.2 billion doses of life-saving vaccines and save over 7 million lives.
We are using new vaccines to tackle pneumonia, one of the largest killers of children, and to protect adolescent girls from cervical cancer.
We are delivering more life-saving vaccines than ever to a new generation of 300 million children.
Thanks to you, we will make our world a fairer place, delivering $54 of return for every dollar invested.
Thanks to you, we'll make the world more sustainable, evening the odds for children across the globe and helping countries to help themselves.
Thanks to you, we'll make the world safer by helping the world fight back against COVID-19 and ensuring that vaccines are accessible to anyone that needs them.
Today, our tasks may seem more challenging than ever, but with the expertise and partnerships we have in place,
I am confident that we will be able to achieve our goal.
We are Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, and we are ready. One world protected. Thanks to you.